go. Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things World Wonder Ring Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined as ever by Mr. Matt Turner, my vivid honey mustard. How are you, good sir? Ever since I found out that's Suzumi's nickname, that's it now. That's you labeled for life.
And the Smack Daddy as well. There's a lot there. There's a lot to work with. Rob Goodwin, I'm going to warn you and all of our listeners, I'm in a better mood than usual, which is saying something. Yes, so you
that's
better...
that's terrifying and interesting at the same time.
Positive vibes and love are going to be all set out through this podcast for several reasons, Rob. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to show you why. My desk that I got for Christmas.
Look at that.
Literally just got put together. There you go. There you can see my Starlight Kid shirt. Literally, as soon as I came home from work and I was getting ready to podcast, my wife's like, here's your desk. So I was like, sweet. So I got my fancy new desk. I still don't know how to operate everything, so I might be knocking things over, but that's A-okay. Rob, that's one of many good reasons why I'm in a better mood than usual today, this week, and forever. One of the other reasons why, Rob Goodwin, is the NFL playoffs just started this past week. And for any of the new listeners, I am a San Francisco 49er fan. Now, I don't watch that much football because majority of my free time is spent watching wrestling, which I'm sure you folks have probably figured out. Despite all of the injuries the San Francisco 49ers were dealt with this year, not only, Rob Goodwin, do they have a winning record, not only do they make the playoffs, but this past Sunday, they went into Philadelphia and knocked off the defending Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, the same venue we saw Cody Rhodes win the world championship 2 years ago, same venue. They knocked off the defending champions. And Rob, as great as that was, something happened earlier that day that was even better than that. Would you like to hear what was absolutely fantastic, my friend?
Always.
So earlier that day, I was getting ready for the gym or church or whatever, and I noticed on our church calendar that coming up the first Saturday of February is our annual Sweethearts Dance. So Rob,
I love it. I love the annual Sweethearts Dance.
So now any of our we know we have new listeners. Any of our new listeners, just real quick, my wife pretty much runs everything pretty much to do with our church, especially when it comes to fundraisers. She runs these quarterly dances. They do 3 or 4 of them a year. She runs these. She does everything for them. Like, my wife is she's an absolute machine. And then she puts this test together. So I was like, right, Sweetheart Dance, Valentine's Day. That's like the big one of the 4. That's the WrestleMania of the PLEs, if you will, Rob Goodwin. So I was like, I know I will be asked to this dance. I should be asked to this dance. A few hours later, I get this beautiful text, because obviously I was at my side job, my restaurant job. I get this wonderful text formally inviting to be her date to the Sweethearts Dance. Now, Rob Goodwin, as you know, I need to be treated like the princess that I am.
Absolutely.
Literally to the point that where maybe it should be me challenging Miyu Watanabe at Grand Princess instead of Yuki Rai, which myself and Andy Header, Cheap Plug, will be talking about later on this week at Talk Joshi. Yes. But I was thoroughly thrilled with that. And what maybe even just as good, if not better, we're going to be spending the next 2 hours or so talking about 4 fantastic matches, fantastic shows from Stardom, because we are back, my friend. This is our first traditional Stardom cast since our return from Japan. But obviously, brother, you know I'm doing great. How's things over here on your neck of the woods?
Yeah, not too bad. I low-key had my first official game of football since my knee injury on Sunday, which I'm not gonna lie. It was not the greatest day to re-debut, because it was about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So -6 Celsius for our British contingent. It was absolutely freezing cold. The pitch was rock solid, so all of the water that had sort of rained down the night before was sitting on top of the pitch. So I woke up, it was absolutely hammering it down, and I was like, it'll get called off. It's fine. I'll turn up and then I'll go for a pint with the lads afterwards. So got there. The match was spectacularly still on. Then the referee turned up and we were like, oh, the referee will definitely call it off. Obviously, the referee's going to call it off. Sure enough, the referee, I don't know why or what dimension this referee was from, but he was like, you know what? I want to referee this game in the middle of this Arctic storm. So yeah, okay, right. So the game is now on. We're all absolutely frozen at this point. Matt, my forehead was numb. That is how cold I was. My forehead was numb. Didn't know that was a thing. Felt like I'd had about 4 rounds of plastic surgery. Couldn't talk properly because my lips were swollen because I was that cold. So anyway, thankfully the coach was like, look, I'm not going to put you on to start up with because this pitch, one wrong move and your knee's gone again. I was like, I appreciate that. Thank you. Of course, standing on the sidelines for the match wasn't any better, but there we are. Anyway, last 10 minutes, I got myself onto the pitch. First thing I did, jumped for a header for with one of their players, landed back first in the biggest puddle of freezing cold water you have ever seen. I was absolutely frozen. I walked in, Kirsty looked at me, took one look at me, looked me up and down, and was just like,
you want some advice, buddy?
Always.
Somebody that does a lot of clumsy things. You need to look at Kirsty. What did you expect was going to happen? Like, you should, like, what did you think I was going to come in like dressed as a clown or something? Like, you know what was going to happen.
Exactly.
It also sounds like you went from a football game to an ice swimming match.
Honestly, I can't. So I landed. It was literally I'd been on for about 30 seconds. So we jumped for this ball. We sort of clashed in the midair, and then we'd both gone down. It happens hundreds of times per game. But yeah, I'd landed back first, and it all went up my back as well, all up my shirt, all up my Under Armour and everything.
Lovely. Sounds lovely.
To the point where their defender went, I bet that was well cold. Once I was like, honestly, I'm never moving again. But yeah, it was good to get back into it. It was, mate, there was no selling that. Tomohiro Ishii, what I said, wasn't no selling that. It was absolutely frozen. But crucially, 10 minutes down, no injury, touch wood. So we're all good. We're all good. I've got practice on Wednesday, got a game again on Sunday. Hopefully we can get back into the swing of things and I can stop feeling my age.
Well, I'll know that I'll have to text you on Sunday to make sure that you're A-okay. Or maybe I'll have Amber text Kirsty. So
that's probably better.
That might be best.
Because I'll look at it and I'll go, I'll text him back in a minute. And I will put my phone down. And in the process of me putting the phone down, I will have already forgotten to message you back.
And then you know what'll happen? My dad gene will kick in. I'm like, oh my God, he broke his neck. He's in the hospital. Yeah. So that'll happen. But what was the score? Did you guys win? Like, how did you do? Other than survived. Obviously, you survived.
Do you know what, Matt? Many people would say that it's not the score that matters. It's not the result that matters. It was the fact that I made it through the match unscathed. However, for those that do actually want to score, it was a cup match. So we got drawn against a team that was in the Premier League. So we are not in the Premier League. We're like 6 leagues below the Premier League. We got drawn against a team from the Premier League who had a person, for those who are soccer fans or football fans, who was a former professional who played for Leicester, Millwall, Wolves. Yeah, he played for them and was very good. He ran the game, obviously. I believe the score was 7-1.
They had a ringer.
Honestly, he rocked up, he touched the ball twice, and one of our players turned around and went, he's not real, him. Like, what's this? And just every time he touched the ball, bearing in mind that this pitch was so bobbly because it had frozen solid. So every time the ball rolled, it was doing all sorts. And he was just, and it was just every time he touched the ball, it was like, something happened. He was a very good player. It was results wise, we knew we were going to get stuffed, but it was the game that was the minutes that mattered. I finally managed to run off that sushi. Was my thinking anyway.
There you go, buddy. Positive thinking. I love it, buddy. I absolutely love it.
Always. Anyway, Mr. Matt Turner, let's stop talking about my my attempts to play football. Let's start talking about some Stardom, because we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got a lot of news that has come out of the world of Stardom in this new year. Obviously, we've also got 4 shows to cover. Ironically, two shows that were 6 minutes away from our hotel and we didn't go to from the 3rd of January in Shinjuku Face. We're going to be covering them. And then, of course, we're going to be covering what was a fantastic doubleheader from Korakuen Hall on the 10th and 11th of January as well. But Matt, before we cover any of that, before we cover any of the plentiful news, both good and bad, coming out of Stardom this week, what, oh God, is coming up on our Patreon this week?
Patreon, we're trying to get back into the full swing of things. Alternate commentary that was released just the other day. Rob, and I go back to one of the greatest Stardom shows of all time, Year-End Climax 2019, as Arisa Hoshinki. Arisa, now that Yuzuki Ayakawa is back, maybe there's hope for Arisa Hoshinki to come back, my friend. Arisa Hoshinki defending the Wonder of Stardom Championship against the current Wonder of Stardom champion, Konami. So how about the little symmetry there? So there you go for you YouTube, everyone watching on YouTube. And who did she beat?
There you go. There you go.
I'm using this new desk to my
telepathy.
Yeah, there it is, buddy. But yeah, I did the alternate commentary on that match. I have not seen that match in quite some time. Great stuff with Arisa versus Konami. And then I'm due to record with Andy Header tomorrow. So I believe this weekend, obviously cards subject to change, we're going to be doing our roundtable discussion for the month. And it'll be our personal top 10 favorite Joshi matches from 2025. So not just Stardom, not just Marigold, Oz Academy, Tokyo Joshi Pro. So whatever, we're putting every single Joshi match that we have seen in 2025 in one big pool, and then we will do our personal top 10 favorite Joshi matches from the great year that was 2025. So again, the alternate commentary and the roundtable discussion has made a lot of really great stuff on the Stardom cast each and every week as we do, my friend, especially on the Stardom cast extra.
Absolutely. Patreon.com/the Stardom cast. Make sure you go and check it out. Let's get into some of the news then. And we are going to start with something that came completely out of the blue yesterday, but is honestly one of the nicest things that you will see. And Natsupoi, Stardom's Natsupoi, got married. And she didn't just get married to anyone, she got married to New Japan's Shingo Takagi, which I think is a couple that on the face of it, you're like, whoa. And then you're like, oh, actually, okay. They announced through Tokyo Sports that they had recently tied the knot. They apparently started dating in 2024 after Shingo's appearance at Stardom's Yamanashi show in May of 2024, where he appeared with the Never Openweight Championship to promote his 20th anniversary show, as Yamanashi is his hometown. Apparently, Natsupoi saw him backstage and reading the interview. Obviously, I know it's a little bit Google Translate, but apparently, in her words, pursued him aggressively. I believe the wording was. It was the aggressive bit that really, really made me laugh. But yeah, obviously, we both wish them a lifetime of happiness. And the full Tokyo Sports interview is linked on the news article. But yeah, what a great way to start the week, Matt.
Yeah, the basically it's a fairy tale. The Rampage Dragon weds the Murder Pixie. Like, I mean, it literally sounds like a childhood story I would tell Lily back when she was very little. But I mean, that's awesome. You have, one of the best wrestlers in Stardom and Natsupoi marrying one of the best wrestlers in New Japan and Shingo. And from the pictures that we were able to see, they just seem so happy. So that's great. What a great way to start the week. Great way to start the new year with Natsupoi marrying Shingo Takagi. So really great stuff. I mean, the historic crossover matches, it's gotta, right?
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
It was so funny because I was so behind on shows. There was like 5 between Stardom Cast, Marigold Standard, and Talk Joshi. I was in this room for like 4 or 5 hours yesterday, and I didn't have my phone on me, and you and Header kept texting me, and it was like literally the same thing, almost word for word. I was like, wow, how about that? Like, didn't see that out of the blue. And then Header sends me a text message and he's like, hey, how awesome with all these companies working together, how awesome would it be if that mixed tag match at Grand Princess is Shingo and Natsupoi versus Takeshita and Yuka Sakazaki? I was like, oh man, that would be something. But yeah, that's awesome news. So we already know the match for historic crossover 4 with these two either on the same side or maybe across the ring from each other, taking out the aggression because maybe Shingo didn't take out the garbage. So.
There you go. Well, apparently he did leave Natsupoi in the car for 2 hours while he went to the gym. So this interview is fantastic. This interview is fantastic.
Why didn't you just go in with them? She's shredded. Like, just do some cardio.
Absolutely. I did say on Twitter, the idea of Natsupoi pulling a Baipoi at the altar is honestly my favorite thing in the world. But yes, you can obviously read the full article. I do encourage you to, because it is really quite funny. But also, Shingo has got a live stream set for tomorrow as we record, so the 14th, where I think he's going to talk just unofficially about his relationship and obviously the marriage. And again, we both wish them nothing but a lifetime of happiness. From the happy to the desperately, desperately sad, unfortunately, at one of the Korakuen shows, the 10th of January, Saki Kashima announced that she will be retiring officially from professional wrestling on April 26th at All-Star Grand Queendom 2026. She initially debuted in the company 2011 before taking a 5-year hiatus and returning to the company in 2018. Obviously, a former 2-time high-speed champion, a 1-time Goddess of Stardom champion alongside Mayu Iwatani, a 5-time Artist of Stardom champion as well as being one of only 7 people to wrestle more than 700 matches for the company. So an extremely tenured wrestler, someone who's going to be sorely missed on this roster because of her unique character, the way she approaches matches and the way she approaches wrestling as a whole. However, obviously, I think she referenced this where during the actual sort of very brief speech she made, she did say that she's tired and, you know, she's not at the physical peak that she wants to be. And she has had a lot of time off over the last couple of years with nagging injuries, as is the case as we make our way through life. So yeah, Saki Kashima will be retiring at All-Star Grand Queendom. That match has been set, by the way, which I didn't realize. Apparently it will be her versus Yuri in a singles match. I think I've read somewhere.
That's not All-Star Grand Queendom. That's the Osaka show. That's the
Osaka show. Yes. Okay. That's fine. I was just going to say that's great. But yes, obviously Saki Kashima retiring from professional wrestling. Again, we wish her nothing but the best, Matt Turner. It's a shame, but obviously, again, it is a blessing for pro wrestlers to be able to choose when they retire, to set a date when they retire and walk away. We've seen it with Risa Serra.
Yeah, we reached there just yesterday, I believe, as of
just yesterday.
Recording. Yeah, in Cork. And again, it was nice to see Suzu come back because obviously we'll talk about she was off the shows from the weekend due to illness. But we've seen it obviously with Tanahashi. We've seen it with John Cena. You know, they were retiring on big shows. Saki Kashima, is going to retire at the Yokohama Arena. Last year they did 7,500. I wouldn't be shocked if they do, around 7,000 for this year's show. Just how insanely hot the company is, and we'll talk about it with these Korakuen shows. But it was sad when I read the news, but at the same time, not also surprising because of just the wrath of injuries she sustained. I believe it was right before All-Star Grand Queendom 2024, where she had that ankle injury that she kept having to take time off. If you remember, it was a 4-way match, and she was barely in the match, and it was just like, your heart just breaks for her. So, I mean, even if you go back as recent as the Tag League Finals, the Goddess of Stardom Tag League Finals, her and Sherry were supposed to be in the playoffs, but she got injured on that final night. So, or the final night before going into the playoffs. So it's something that she's been battling injuries quite a bit over the last 2.5 years. So I do like the fact that she's just like, look, my body's getting beat up from this. I can't do this forever. Let me, retire while I still have a little bit of gas left in the tank and go on her own terms. So, obviously, as you mentioned before, partner, Saki Kashima is somebody that stands out on this loaded roster that is Stardom. She's funny, she's comedic. Her matches can end at any minute. And I always bring up 2022 finals of the 5-star Grand Prix, where it was Azumi's birthday. All Azumi needed to do was win. It was Azumi's birthday. All Azumi needed to do was win. Yeah, she just needed to win to win the block and go on to the finals. On her birthday, new gear, and she gets beat in like 14 seconds.
Honestly, on her birthday. That's the bit that made me laugh, on her birthday.
And the thing is, we're all giant Azumi fans, especially myself. And it's just like, you would get upset over that, except if it wasn't for Saki Kashima. Like, she almost gets the pass on it because she's so good. She's so great with that comedic timing and just a great wrestler. And you mentioned her accomplishments, my friend. Definitely somebody that's going to go down in Stardom history as somebody that will stand out within the great lineage that is World Wonder Ring Stardom. So we wish Saki nothing but the best, and let's enjoy these last 3 months that we have with one Saki Kashima, the owner of the most devastating move maybe in the history of professional wrestling, Rap Goodwin, the Kichi Kasai.
She is one of one without a shadow of a doubt. And obviously, I do wonder if that ankle injury she's never fully recovered from, because it has been, on and off with that. She's been sort of really struggling to build momentum since that ankle injury. And it was actually just after Philadelphia that she injured her ankle, if you remember. So we saw her win the high speed championship and we're like, what? Okay, cool. But then it was like literally the week after, wasn't it, if you remember? And ended up, unfortunately hurting herself. So fingers crossed she makes it through to her retirement day without any sort of issues and is able to retire on the platform that she deserves, because she is one of those people that sort of one of the only sort of look backs to a pre-Bushi Road Stardom. And she is a lot of people's favorite wrestler, and again, she is completely unique. So she is going to be really, really missed on these Stardom shows. And it's just nice to see that she's going to get the send-off she deserves on the big platform that she deserves. So we wish Saki Kashima all the best.
Absolutely.
Someone else our thoughts are going out to today is obviously Bozilla. Now, obviously, on the 11th of January, EXV were taking on Mi Vida Loca in a 5-on-4 handicap match. Obviously, those people that have watched the show know that Bozilla injured her knee during the match. It's unclear where the injury happened, but she continued to try and wrestle on during the exchanges with Hanako, eventually couldn't do it anymore and had to be helped from the ringside area, I believe by Itsuki Aoki and Fuwa-chan. Knee was strapped up. She was in clear distress, really, really upset. And it's always devastating to see these injuries. It doesn't look good for Bozilla. Stardom have announced that she is going to miss the next 3 shows as that knee injury is assessed. So she definitely won't be on the Osaka shows on the 17th or the 18th, and she definitely won't be on the Takamatsu show on the 19th. Matt, didn't look good. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything crossed that it's not as bad as it looked. But if it is, then obviously we wish the speediest of speedy recoveries to Bozilla, who really has seemed to be hitting a stride recently, had a lot of irons in the fire. Obviously, she called out Syuri. Obviously, that huge sort of post-match angle at Dream Queendom with Megan Bain. They're obviously building to something, or they were, between Hanako and Bozilla. I just hope it's not as bad as it looks. Obviously, it's been said multiple times that wrestling is not ballet, but it's not always the big, terrifying spot that ends up with the injury. I mean, look at Natsuko Tora literally jumping off the apron in 2021 and ended up blowing a knee out and being out for, it was over a year. So I hope it's not as bad as it looks. I really, really do. We've met Bozilla. She's absolutely lovely. Obviously, we know Ulf, her dad. We get on well with Ulf. He's a great dude. I really, really hope it's not as bad as it looks.
Yeah, again, somebody 21, 22 years old has the world by her oyster. You know what I mean? If we're watching on YouTube, this is the photo. Correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, from Forbidden Door.
It is.
I mean, she got crazy over in that match, considering that like she was kind of an unknown going into that giant crowd, and but towards the end, everyone was chanting her name. So I mean, Bozilla, she can do whatever she wants. If she wants to stay in Stardom, hone her craft. She wants to go to WWE. She wants to go to AEW. I mean, she can do anything she wants because she's so talented on so many levels. You just hate to see it, especially with such a wonderful person that that is Bozilla. And obviously, our listeners know that we do talk to her dad quite a bit, Ulf, and he's just the greatest guy. He's
a lovely dude.
Yeah, so we talked last week that he took us out for coffee and tea before Dream Queendom. So it
was much needed as well.
Yeah,
I was so jet lagged.
Yeah, that was
You need caffeine, Ulf, please.
take you guys out. I thought we were gonna have a beer, but anywho, yeah, obviously we never want to see anybody injured, especially Bozilla, who's just an absolutely just fantastic person and terrific wrestler. So I know we were talking before we hit the record button. We were trying to figure out when the injury happened. I could be wrong, but the way that I see it, it looked like when her and Hanako were like clashing on the shoulder tackles, and it seemed like that. And I knew going into watching that match that she was injured. So I was like, okay, I think that's when it happened. And I thought maybe she would have, and I could be wrong, but I think when they were doing the shoulder tackles, it's just something that happened where it was just, she planted wrong, or she got, maybe Hanako came in too fast or whatever. But I was like, okay, that seems like where she hurt her knee. And I'm like, okay, what's an 8-person tag or multi-person tag? She'll probably tag out and then, the work around it. And she continued, God bless her, to work the rest of the match.
Absolute machine.
That just goes to show. And we always knew Bozilla was a badass, but that's like, she worked the whole match and then she takes a bump over the top rope onto the floor. So I was like,
that probably didn't help.
No, it certainly didn't. But like Bozilla's mindset is like, well, let me finish the match. And that is so old school. That is so old school. We see people getting hurt, unfortunately, not all the time, but we see it happen every now and again. And usually they stop the match or they'll tag out, they'll work around it. Where she was still there for her spots, and you could tell she was in pain when she was just like, no, I need to get the match over. So again, it just goes to show you how much Bozilla truly loves professional wrestling. So when she comes back, and obviously we know that she will, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But of course, as you mentioned before, Rob, we just we wish her well, and we wish her all of the best. And hopefully this knee injury isn't as bad as George Kittle's was during the 49ers playoff game this past weekend. So again, Bozilla, we hope that you get well soon.
Yeah, obviously, if it is an ACL, and again, completely unsubstantiated, it sort of looked like it could be an ACL injury. It does depend. Obviously, if you have surgery on it, you're looking at 9, 10, 11, 12 months out. Obviously, we saw Koki Amare come back after 5 months from her ACL injury, and that was because she hadn't had the surgery. So again, depends on how bad the tear is. Obviously, Sadie Gibbs is still out as well with her ACL injury as well. Again, I just hope that that it's not as bad as we first feared. But either way, we wish her nothing but the best. Moving on to better news, and it was finally confirmed. The worst kept secret, I think many would agree, in Stardom. We've had these vignettes airing for about a month now. A streamer who is surrounded by energy drink cans. I originally thought it was going to be Dakota Kai. I know that Stevie Turner, the former Bobby Tyler, was also rumored to be that person. Stardom repeatedly then aired longer and longer segments where it became very, very, very obvious that it was Maki Itoh. Anyway, Maki Itoh was revealed to be that mystery person at Stardom's Korakuen Hall show on the 10th of January, becoming a full-time member of the Stardom roster. Obviously, a former two-time princess international princess and former Princess Tag Team Champion in Tokyo Joshi Pro as well. She did announce in August of last year that her contract had expired with Tokyo Joshi Pro and she wouldn't be working with them. Obviously, she was doing a lot of freelance work prior to that in the States anyway, appearing in AEW, doing a lot of shots for GCW. She is now full-time with Stardom. It looks like, for the moment at least, that those American ambitions have been put on the back burner. It's a great get for Stardom, and I think it's a great fit for both parties, for Maki Itoh and indeed for Stardom as well, Matt. I know that you and Andy are obviously very, very excited to see more Maki Itoh.
Yeah, when we started really getting into Tokyo Joshi Pro right towards the end of the summer and watching pretty much every show, it's right when, and we knew who Maki Itoh was because of her presence. She was on AEW TV a whole bunch. She's on a whole bunch of independent shows over here in the Northeast, especially for GCW. Her and Nick Gage were a tag team called which MDK is Nick Gage's thing, but they turned it a Maki Death Kill, which it was just like you have Maki Itoh and Nick Gage as a tag team. Okay, and it worked because they're both awesome. So it's like Maki Itoh has a very big presence in America, especially in the Northeast. So we knew who she was, and like I said, we just really started getting into Tokyo Joshi Pro And then Maki Itoh left. I'm like, oh. And then if you remember when myself and Andy went to the big event a few months ago, Andy had the best foot in the mouth moment where he's like,
Absolutely.
I love you in Tokyo Joshi Pro. She's like, yeah, I left. But now we know the real love Andy had her. I got a bag.
Great stuff, Andy.
I got a bag of goodies over there for him, by the way, from when we went to Japan. But now we know why. It was kind of weird. It was just like, well, maybe she wants to go to America. She's doing these signings. She's doing some independent stuff. She's doing some freelancing stuff. She's doing some of her streaming stuff. So maybe she wants to dip her foot into a little bit of everything. But then you find out why. It was like, obviously there was interest from Stardom. So she let her contract run out. She did her own thing. And now she is full-time member of Stardom. Again, she is a big, big star in the world of Joshi. And again, it's going to put a lot of more American eyes on Stardom that normally don't watch Stardom. And again, what is going to happen? They're going to go to see Maki Itoh and be like, oh, I like this Soriano and Sai Kamatani and Momo Watanabe and Azumi and Starlight Kid. They're going to fall down the rabbit hole. So this is huge for Stardom. It's huge for Maki Itoh. This is great for the Joshi fan base. It's a win, win, win in every single aspect. This makes perfect sense. None of that, Rob. We'll talk about it when we talk about the match that she had. Clearly, this sets up for the return for Tam Nakano, for who is the cutest in the world. Yes, for who is the cutest in the world.
Dude, they could have brought anyone in at all, and you'd have said this absolutely sets up a Tam Nakano return.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. They could have really, brought in anything. I'm like, that person threw punches. Tam used to throw punches. Clearly, that sets up. This person came to the ring in Korakuen Hall. Remember when Tam came to the ring in Korakuen Hall? It's clearly right there.
Of course. How could I be so silly?
But no, I'm really excited for Maki Itoh. This is going to be great. And again, they set up something. Again, we'll get into it later. They set something up with her and Cosmic Angels, her and Soriano. Yeah. None of that, Rob. But she used the stunner, and that's going to upset one Stone Cold Rian.
Yeah. Absolutely. Who does she think she is?
How dare you?
Very excited to see more of Maki Itoh in Stardom. Again, I think she is a very, very good fit for the promotion. Little bit more news then coming out of Stardom, and unfortunately Koguma did miss the show on the 11th of January. It looks like she sustained an injury in her tag match on the 10th, which was obviously facing Hazuki and Fuwa-chan. She missed the 11th of January. As a result, the card was changed. No comment as of yet as to when Koguma will return. Obviously, we don't know at the time of recording the 13th. We don't know the cards for Osaka as of yet for this weekend shows, and then of course the show on the 19th as well. We don't know those cards. We don't know if Koguma has returned or will return. Either way, we obviously wish the bear the speediest of recoveries as well, Matt.
Yeah. Obviously, we want to see her back sooner than later. But again, it's a good time to kind of rest up as we got towards the end of the year, and then we're gearing up for that big pay-per-view coming up in a few weeks' time.
Moving on then, something that has been announced is our next challenger for the CMLL Japan Women's Championship. Obviously, we're going to be talking about it later, but Hazuki successfully defended that belt against Mei Seira in the semi-main event of the 11th of January's Korakuen Hall show in a blistering match. Why are you not strapping the rocket to Hazuki, Stardom? Oh my God. Anyway, great match. One of my favorite matches in ages. She then called out Olympia, who of course is a member of the CMLL roster and is currently on a tour with Stardom. Olympia has accepted the challenge, and this match has now been made official for the Stardom Award in Takadanobaba on January the 25th. So Hazuki will make a second defense against Olympia there. Very excited to see this match. Obviously, Matt, we know that Hazuki is a very intense wrestler. I think that's putting it mildly. However, seeing her against someone who is so obviously her superior in terms of strength is going to be a really, really interesting matchup to see, because we don't often see that.
No, not at all. And actually, Olympia worked the Sendai Girls show this past weekend as well.
She did indeed.
So I mean, she's really really getting the tour of Japan, working for the best Joshi wrestling company. So awesome for her. Obviously, when her time is up and she goes back to Mexico, she's going to be even a better wrestler than she already is. And she's wrestling, as you mentioned, partner, at the end of this month, one of the best wrestlers in all of professional wrestling in the Wild Heart, one Hazuki. So this is great. Stardom has set up so many great matches for like the rest of these shows, like on the 17th and the 18th and the next Korakuen show, and then the pay-per-view coming up on the 7th. There's a lot of great stuff to look forward to. And Stardom is just like, hey, we got all these wrestlers. Let's set this up. Let's set that match up. And this is one I'm really, really looking forward to. But it'll be interesting to see who wins this one, because it is for the CMLL Japan Championship. Obviously, Olympia, that's the company that she represents. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see a title change here, or they can just keep rolling with the hot hand that is Hazuki. So this is going to be a fun and hard-hitting one to watch, my friend.
Also on this card, it does look like, it hasn't officially been announced, but it is going to be. It does look like Yuna Mizumori will be making her first defense of the High Speed Championship against Yuki Mashiro on this show as well. So 2 really good title matches on this card. Something else that has been confirmed is Konami versus Rina for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. We knew Rina was going to make a challenge, or that this match was incoming, because Rina challenged Konami after her match at Dream Queendom. It has officially now been confirmed that this will happen on the January 21st Korakuen Hall show, which will be a pay-per-view. Which is interesting, especially as you have got Supreme Fight in Osaka just over a week later. So an interesting tactic from Stardom, but either way, this is going to be a fantastic match. It's going to be a really, really good match. Now, I'm really intrigued to see where we go from here. I wouldn't be surprised if Rina dethrones Konami here, you know.
It's going to be real interesting, Rob, because they did do a good job on the last match we're going to talk about on this podcast. That's not Io and Kairi watch, but that phenomenal Artist of Stardom Championship match. They did do a good job kind of planting the seeds for this.
Sowing the seeds, absolutely.
Because Konami twice accidentally hit Rina. You're kind of like, ooh, or and Rina, I think, accidentally hit Konami as well. So it's like,
Yeah, Rina hit the double knees, didn't she, onto Konami?
And then Konami went to go hit a head kick, I think, onto Hina and accidentally hit Rina. But regardless, I was like, clearly something there. If they're putting it on pay-per-view, Rob, because we've seen Stardom just give away.
That's what I mean.
We've seen Stardom give away phenomenal main events for, like, you know, hey, you just got to subscribe to Stardom World, or hey, guess what? This entire playoff show for the 5-star Grand Prix, free on YouTube. Enjoy. So it's just like, it's either there's going to be a title change, or there's going to be something big, maybe with Momo Watanabe coming back, and then maybe the splitting of H.A.T.E, something like that, or maybe they'll load it up with another big championship match or something like that. So interesting, they are putting it on pay-per-view. Obviously, it'll be, this match alone will be well worth the pay-per-view ticket price. This is a tough one for me to call. Like, obviously, we'll do our preview episode, I believe next week, then will be our preview. But this one would be, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I know the fans are clamoring for Rina, and Rina was insanely over in that fantastic artist match, considering all the great talent that was in there. So do they pull the trigger on Rina, or they keep it with Konami? Or then maybe is it something where maybe Konami beats Rina, and then her older sister, Hanan, comes out and challenges? And there's a lot that they can do, and there's a lot that is the right answer. That's, Stardom has a good problem to have, where it's just like, you know, could we do this? Could we do that? Like, everything seems to be the right answer. Then you have the ultimate ace card, Rob, is just putting all the belts on Hazuki. Anytime they want to do that, you get no complaints from the Stardom cast here. Like, you know, so again, they have a lot of people are getting over in the right way. I wouldn't be shocked if Konami wins. I wouldn't be shocked if Rina wins, and both of them are the right answer. So it's going to be a really interesting match coming up in just a few weeks' time. And again, Stardom is loaded up. You know, no rest for the wicked. They come off, you know, their most successful, financially successful year for what they did at Dream Queendom in the 5-star Grand Prix and All-Star Grand Queendom. And it's like they go right into the new year with like 2 back-to-back sellout shows at Shinjuku Face, 2 near sellout shows back-to-back in Korakuen Hall. then we're getting all these title matches leading up to this Korakuen. And then 2 weeks after the Korakuen is the big pay-per-view with Starlight Kid versus Saya Kamatani. So it's a good time, Rob Goodwin, to be a Stardom fan. That is for sure, my friend.
Absolutely. It really, really is. It does make you wonder if they
Unintended?
See, I knew. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. I was going to say I meant to, but it wouldn't surprise me if they have Rina win the belt here and then they run Rina versus Hanan at All-Star Grand Queendom.
Ooh.
Now, obviously, I don't think we're going to get a wonder. We might. Obviously, if Konami retains against Rina, there is every possibility that we will still get a Konami Wonder of Stardom Championship defense at Supreme Fight. Obviously, nothing's been announced yet. I think if Rina takes the belt, she holds it and defends it at All-Star Grand Queendom against the returning Hanan. Obviously, that is completely pending Hanan's injury and her timetable for recovery. But if Hanan is going to be fit for All-Star Grand Queendom, that's certainly where I would go.
Yeah, again, it's the right answer. You can even do Hina. I mean, again, we're going to get into it. That closing stretch with Hina and Rina.
It was fantastic.
Unbelievable. Literally the point where I'm like, I'm already like in my head booking the 5-star Grand Prix. I'm like, put that on night 1 with only 8 matches, folks, not 20. Like they did last
20,
year.
Please.
And put that as match number 1. I was like, this is the first match that you see is Hina versus Rina. Put Hina, Rina, and Hanan in the same block, Rob. That would be awesome. Put all the sisters and then put Tomoka and Azusa in a similar block. So that's what, again, I'm booking 8-9 months in advance. But man, our bottom line, Rob, I'm really looking forward to this match. I'm really looking forward to it. And again, it's really a coin flip on which way it can go. It's not one of those like, it's going to be a great match, but you know, so-and-so is going to win the belt or so-and-so is going to retain. Like, I can really see it going either way at this point. And again, both of them are the right answer because Konami is doing the best work of her career, which again is saying something because she's been a fantastic talent for years and years and years.
One match we know is confirmed for Supreme Fight in Osaka is that red belt match. Saya Kamatani versus Starlight Kid. It has been confirmed. It was confirmed when Saya Kamatani announced that she would be taking a short period of absence to recover from injuries when she did call out Starlight Kid. It has been confirmed now with an official match graphic, which, as longtime listeners to the podcast know, it's never official until you have a match graphic. So now we have one. Starlight Kid versus Saya Kamatani will be your main event of Supreme Fight in Osaka on the 7th of February. Also announced for that show, though we are yet to have match graphics for that, we have Mi Vida Loca versus EXV in what looks to be a unit dissolves match. We'll talk a little bit about that on the Korakuen Hall shows. The way it has been phrased, it looks like it is a unit dissolve match or a unit loses, disbands match, whatever. We'll talk about that very shortly. And obviously, as you correctly pointed out, Matt, Syuri versus Saki Kashima as well in a singles match. So more matches obviously to be announced, but shaping up to be a great card as Stardom returns to the Edion Arena Osaka.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited for this one. I know I checked the tickets a few days ago. I mean, I think they have like 12 sections opened up. So I think they're opening up the whole thing here. And I think all but 4 sections are sold out. So again, just another mass. I wouldn't be shocked when we review this, we get the final numbers. This will be the highest drawing Stardom show in that building. So super excited for this one. Rob, as you know, and longtime listeners know, I have seen every Starlight Kid match from 2021 into current. She's one of my favorite wrestlers to watch in all the wrestling. I will say this. If you were to say, Matt, you need to list Starlight Kid's top 5 matches, Starlight Kid versus Saya Kamatani is 2 out of my top 3. Between the Wonder match that they had 4 years ago, back in the summer of 2022, and then their quarterfinal match from the 5-star Grand Prix back in 2024, that is like 1 and 3 for me. With number 2 being the Natsupoi match where she wins the belt back at Dream Queendom last year. So, and this is going to be, this is the main event for the red belt. Starlight Kid has never challenged for the red belt before. And again, Saya Kamatani is coming off a historic year. First women to win Tokyo Sports MVP. She is over a year and counting as red belt champion, something that only a handful of Stardom wrestlers have done before. Her defense record's absolutely fantastic, and she's going to be rested. She's going to, by the time this match happens, she will be over a month since her last match, which was Shiri at the Tokyo Dome, which is well deserved and well earned for Saya Kamatani. So you're going to get a rested and motivated Saya Kamatani, and Starlight Kid, since her return from injury, has been absolutely on fire. So this is an early match of the year candidate. I can already see it coming, and I'm really excited for the whole show because you know Stardom is going to load up the rest of this card. So yeah, super pumped for Saya Kamatani versus Starlight Kid, literally on kind of the first big show of the new year.
Well, we may only be 13 days into our new year, but Joshi have already provided us with some absolutely incredible matchups. Obviously, Mayu Iwatani versus Takumi Iroha from First Dream 2026. Incredible match. That was Hazuki versus Meisera, which was tremendous. Again, strap the rocket to Hazuki Stardom. What are you doing? And then Sendai Girls decided to say, hold my beer. They ran their Step and Go show on the 11th of January. Bit of Stardom representation on the show. Ruaka beat Manami in the opener in 9 minutes. Olympia was in a 6-woman tag straight after that, teaming with Chi-Chi and Zones. However, the main event, Sayarida and Chihiro Hashimoto. Now, the result, if anything, is irrelevant in this match. Sayarida, after that Wonder of Stardom Championship match against Konami, and this match here against Chihiro Hashimoto, confirms everything that longtime Sayarida fans have been screaming for months and months, even years. She's a bona fide main eventer. Like, holy, this match was like, we knew it would be. We knew it'd be a lot of suplexes, a lot of heavy hitting, a lot of lariats. That's my jam. Like, I love that. This is a match that I encourage any listeners of the Stardom cast who have probably already watched this match, because you're all awesome, go and seek it out if you haven't, because this was tremendous, Matt Turner.
Yeah, full review of this match and the entire show coming up on Talk Joshi. Again, I'm set to record. Usually myself and Andy record on Wednesdays. So there'll be a full review of this match and that whole fantastic show from Sendai Girls coming up on your feed this weekend for us over at Talk Joshi. But you're absolutely right, partner. Not only did it have all that stuff, it had great fire, great selling, great intensity. The selling was phenomenal. They paced themselves really, really well. And it's just like, when you look at that Wingori team, which the first 6-7 months of last year, they were my tag team of the year. And then obviously Hanan got injured, but and they actually were, for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, they finished number 3 for tag team of the year. But obviously, Rob, you've seen so much Wingori, and me too, and me as well, where it's like, you look at that and it's just like, Hanan's pretty much the leader, right? She's kind of the leader of that team. Now you're like, Saida was just like, dang, I lost my partner. We're on this great, phenomenal run. She's injured. What next? And it was just like, they gave her a little bit, and they gave her an inch, and she took 10,000 miles.
She really did.
She was fantastic in the 5-star Grand Prix. She had a low-key match of the year candidate in that #1 contenders match for Ami Sohrei back in Korakuen Hall just a few months ago. Her and Konami arguably had the second biggest match on the biggest Dream Queendom of all time in the semi-main event. And not only that, like, before that bell rang, we talked about it last week. We were 4 hours into a 5-hour show, and everybody was kind of tired. And then once Saida got to the ring, everybody's cheering her. Saida, one of the most over wrestlers on these 2 Korakuen Hall shows. And then she kind of goes in enemy territory for Sendai Girls. Before Chihiro Hashimoto, the ace of this company, comes out, everybody's yelling for Saida. They were pulling for her. It was a 50-50 match. Not a 50, it was 100-100. It was like 100% of the people were cheering for Chihiro Hashimoto, 100% of the people were cheering
for wrestling. Cheering for wrestling.
That's the new Stardom Cast shirt, folks. We're here to cheer for wrestling. That's what everybody should be cheering for wrestling.
We stand wrestling.
Yes, absolutely. Just enjoy wrestling. And this is what it was. Enjoy professional wrestling. This was great. It was exactly what you thought it was going to be, and more, because of the selling, the intensity, and the crowd was absolutely into this. But yeah, absolutely, folks. Go out of your way. Definitely see this match. Take the time. I think it was like but the entrance is like 20 minutes. Really, really great stuff. And it's great seeing H.A.T.E do stuff outside of Stardom, especially against a big bona fide Joshi star in one Chihira Hashimoto.
And with that, let's move on to the show reviews we are going to be talking about. Obviously, we are going all the way back to the 3rd of January. We were still in Japan at this point, but due to us being at Marigold First Stream, we didn't actually get to see these shows. Both shows, the day and the evening show for New Year Dream and Shinjuku Face, were complete sellouts. I'll talk about those in a moment. That afternoon show was the Stardom debut of AEW's Alex Windsor. Sai Kamatani and Shiori both absent from this show and from the evening show as well, because they would be signing the contract on this show for their Tokyo Dome match, and they will be appearing at a press conference in the evening show. So both wouldn't be wrestling on either show. The attendance inside Shinjuku Face for both the afternoon and the evening show was 478, which is a number that Stardom confirmed was a complete sellout of the venue. It's the second highest number the company have drawn there of the 10 times they've run it, with it being second only to the 5-Star Grand Prix 2024 show they ran at the end of August, which drew 508 people. Only 5 matches on this card, but we'll just whip through the results. They open with a 3-way match, Olympia defeating Kikyo Furusawa and Momo Kogo, with Olympia pinning Kikyo with the airplane-style facebuster in 6 minutes and 59 seconds. We follow with a 6-woman tag. The H.A.T.E team of Azusa Inaba, Natsuko Tora, and Ruaka defeated Kyoko Kitatsu, Rani Yagami, and Motoi Hamabe. Azusa Inaba pinning Motoi with the Gabori punch in 7 minutes and 52 seconds. It is worth pointing out that Stardom did announce during the show that Motoi had sustained an injury during her match and will be unable to compete in the evening show. She was replaced on the evening show by Rani Yagami and hasn't been on these Korakuen Hall shows. Those that were there mentioned that it looked like she'd re-aggravated the knee injury she'd been out for nearly 11 months. So fingers crossed she is okay. We followed that with a tag team match. The EXV team of Hanako and Rian defeated Mivida Loca team of Bozilla and Akira Kuragane, with Rian pinning Akira with a reverse pinfall in 15 minutes and 4 seconds. In a 6-woman tag team match, the team of Alex Windsor, Mei Seira, and Starlight Kid defeated Natsupoi, Sioriano, and Ann Kanai, with Alex Windsor submitting Ann Kanai with the wonderfully named Windsor Knot in 14 minutes and 14 seconds. I am all sorts of here for that level of wordplay. And then in your main event, a Goddesses of Stardom Championship #1 contendership 3-way match. Good grief, that's a mouthful. O2 line, Azumi and Miyu Amasaki defeated Fukuoka Double Crazy, Hazuki and Koguma, and Suri and Miku Kanai, with Azumi submitting Miku Kanai with the numero uno in 14 minutes and 30 seconds to become the new #1 contenders, and they would ultimately challenge BMI 2000 for the titles on January 10th inside Korakuen Hall.
We may as well review that match, buddy. We should review that match.
Do you know what? Leave it with me. I'll see if we can fit it in. Let's open with that 3-way then. So Olympia, Momokogo, and Kikyo Furusawa. What I will say, ladies and gentlemen, is for a couple of these matches that are sort of lower down on the card, we will just whiz through them because we've got 4 shows to talk about. And obviously those main matches on those Korakuen Hall shows, they have been fantastic, and I can't wait to talk about them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this was a really great way to start the show. And sometimes 3-ways can be tricky, especially when you have Olympia, obviously, coming over from Mexico. This one really seemed to work. Robco, and I enjoyed this. I enjoyed how well Momo Kogo got over in this match. I always put that over. 3.25 stars for me. I thought this was a solid way to start this show.
Obviously, we've just talked about Motoi. Hopefully, again, at the time of recording, there's been no timetable for her return to wrestling. Motoi, I hope beyond hope that it is not a re-aggravation of that knee injury, because she was out for so long with that knee injury. I think it was 10 months, almost 11, that she was out with that knee injury. God, I hope it's not the same thing. But yeah, those that were there did say that she was struggling a little bit. So fingers crossed she is okay. Matt, what did you think of this?
Yeah, they took it home early. You can tell that Matoi, her knee was hurt, and she was, trying to signal to Azusa, like, let's just take it home. And you can tell there was more. It's supposed to be more towards that match, but obviously you want to err on the side of caution. It was good for what we got, and I really want to see more of Azusa versus Kyoto Kitatsu. I think I seem to be saying that every other week when they're on opposite ends, because those two really lay into each other. 3.25 stars, but I obviously echo, and all the Stardom fans echo your sentiment, Rob Goodwin. We hope one Matoi, the injury isn't as bad as her first one was about a year and change ago.
We obviously then went to EXV and Mavida Loca. Obviously, this feud exploded at Dream Queendom. It's continued to boil over the course of these 4 shows till we get to the point of this loser disbands match, or that's what it at least looks like at Supreme Fight. And this sort of really lit a fire underneath Bozilla and Hanako, and that exchange was ferocious in this, Matt, wasn't it?
Yeah, they started off with really good chain wrestling with Rihanna and Akira, and you're just waiting for it. Again, this is only a few days after that insane double count out match with these two factions, and you're just waiting for it. So you got Rihanna and Akira setting the table, and then once Hanako and Bozilla get in there, they tear into each other. Really great stuff, great teamwork. Again, Bozilla and Akira, which I believe we named them Bokira.
Yeah.
Great run in the Goddesses Stardom Tag League. They were terrific. Rihanna and Hanako obviously weren't getting along before their for their future Stardom Championship match that happened at New Blood on Christmas Day. Now they're friends again, and they were very friendly in this match. Really great stuff, great symmetry between the two teams. A lot of time to tell their story, which I thought was great. Really, really interesting stuff with Stone Cold Rihanna getting the big win. 3.25 stars for me, my friend. I thought this was a really terrific match in the middle of this card.
We move on then to the semi-main event, the long-awaited, for me at least, debut of Alex Windsor in Stardom. I am a huge fan of Alex Windsor. I think she is a tremendous wrestler, put on an absolute barn burner against Shiori for the IWGP Women's Championship at Pro Wrestling Eve, which was, again, a really, really good match. She then had another great match with Sari for the IWGP Women's Championship match. For the IWGP Women's title as well. Has recently been signed to AEW, really going from strength to strength to strength. And looked good here. I think it was difficult sort of to get her moves in, simply because there was so much going on and there was only 14 minutes given. I think we saw the best of Alex Windsor on those Korakuen Hall shows, where she was given a bit more time to sort of flourish. Here, it was sort of a get in and get out, as it was with everyone. But what she did was very good. But I am a big fan of that team of her and Sari. Run that back.
Yeah, I think I have an idea where they're going with Alex Windsor in Stardom. And we'll get into that. We get into the Korakuen shows. But this was terrific. And Kanai, I think she fits in so well with Cosmic Angels.
She really does.
I think especially her with, like, if they're doing Maki Itoh with or against Cosmic Angel, I think there'll be some fun stuff there as well. I mean, look who you have in this match. You have Soripoi, you have Mei Sarah, which I know you keep saying strap the rocket to Hazuki. Mei Sarah's not too far behind, brother, because, man, again, she's been fantastic. Obviously, Starlight Kid, the #1 contender, and somebody that you definitely have big plans for in 2026. But this match was built around Alex Windsor. Despite all the star power, it was really, let's showcase Alex Windsor in this match. It's really great stuff. I love Starlight Kid versus Natsupoi. It just always seems to work. The Mei Sarah and Soriano stuff was terrific again, and Kanai, absolutely fantastic, considering the fact that if you don't discount the injury, she's only really been wrestling about a year or so. And you can't tell that because she really seems like she's a vet that's been working 4 or 5 years. But ultimately, this was just really making Alex Windsor look strong. Again, I kind of have an idea where they might be going. 3 3/4 stars for me. I thought this was really, really good.
Moving on to that main event, then, this was fantastic, this match. I really, really enjoy when #1 contendership matches, main event, smaller shows, because it makes the belts feel huge. And having the likes of Hazuki and Sari in the same ring certainly made this match feel huge. I thought this was a really, really, really good match. Easily, obviously, the match of the show. But there was loads of little exchanges that were tremendous. Everything with Azumi and Koguma, Sari and Hazuki. I thought Miyu Amasaki was fantastic throughout, and a really underrated cog in both this and the title match as well. Thoroughly enjoyed this one, Matt.
This one worked on so many different levels. You have FWC, that, probably the best tag team in Joshi the last 3 or 4 years. O2 line really coming into their own. And again, we'll get into that phenomenal tag title match that they had in Korakuen. And Suri and Miku Kunai, who really, really upped their stock as a tag team towards the end of the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. There's so many great stuff that happened here. You mentioned Azumi and Kagama. Azumi and Suri as well. Really terrific stuff. Remember, I think it was about 2 years ago at one of the Suriism shows where it was Azumi and Takumi Roha versus Suri and Natsupoi. And their stuff really worked. And Suri's a better wrestler now than she was then, and Azumi as well. So I'm all about an Azumi versus Suri match. But Rob, you know where I'm going. As great as this match was, and it was 4.25 stars for me, give me Hazuki versus Suri. Their exchanges were unbelievable. And again, folks, this was in Shinjuku Face. We know that the Tower Theater, where the Godzilla is on top of the movie theater, I felt Godzilla would probably shook when these two were hitting each other. That's how brutal. I now have a reference every time there's a show in Shinjuku Face now, Rob. This is great. There's great single stuff, great tag stuff, great breakup. This was just absolutely terrific. Just a really great way to start the new year off at Stardom. Joshi Tag hits like nothing else. Pun definitely intended. And this is a great way to start off the year with just one of the best Joshi tag matches that you have seen in the last handful of months. Again, 4.25 stars for me. Really terrific stuff, with Azumi getting the win over one Miku Kunai with the numero uno. Again, this setup, so much great stuff. And O2 line going into Korakuen Hall as your new #1 contenders.
For the first time since May 2024 as well, which is long overdue attempt at the Goddess of Stardom Championships for O2 line. We move to the evening show then, happening on the same day, the 3rd of January, exactly the same attendance as well. Just a reminder that Matoya Mabe, who was supposed to be on this card, unfortunately, was injured and was replaced by Rana Yagami. In terms of your results then, we open with the singles match, Rina defeating Ann Kanai with the Hydrangea in 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Saki Kashima then defeated Uriah Hime with a Kishikasai in less than 2 minutes. The most dangerous move in pro wrestling in every sense of the word. 1 minute and 32 seconds. That one went. Tag team match next. Olympia and Saya Ida defeated the God's Eye team of Amisori and Rani Yagami. Saya Ida flattening Rani Yagami with a lariat in 10 minutes and 13 seconds. Tag team match, Alex Windsor and Kikyo Furusawa defeated the H.A.T.E team of Fukigen Death and Konami. Alex Windsor submitting Fukigen Death with the Windsor knot in 8 minutes and 3 seconds. Alex Windsor and Konami, anyone? 6-woman tag team semi-main event. The Mivida Loka team of Suzu Suzuki, Rini Yamashita, and Itsuki Aoki defeated the EXV team of Maika Waka, Tsukiyama, and Xena, with Rini Yamashita pinning Waka with an implant DDT in 13 minutes and 18 seconds. And then your main event, 6-woman tag team match. The God's Eye team of Hina, Lady C, and Tomoka Inaba defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurora, and Yuna Mizumori Hina, pinning Sayaka with the Mad Splash in 20 minutes and 15 seconds. And I have a little bit of a hot take for you, Mr. Matt Turner, when we get to that match in a moment. Let's move on to the opening match then. Rina versus Ann Kanai. Another great showing for the rookie.
And we say you want to start off your show with a hot opener. And I know majority of the people that were that came to the first show came to the second show. So they're seeing a lot of great wrestling. And considering the fact that Rina is like somebody that's been dabbling with the main event these last handful of months, partner, she gave young Ann Kanai. Well, I mean, technically Rina's younger than Ann Kanai, but you know what I mean? Young in wrestling.
Experience-wise, yes.
She gave her a lot. Like there was a couple of times where people were biting on a roll-up finish from Ann Kanai. They thought they were going to see an upset. Really great stuff here, which again just goes to show you that Rina, just 19 years old, can really lead a match with a younger wrestler. 3.5 stars. I thought this was the perfect way to start off this fantastic show, good sir.
Moving on then, and something I do just want to bring up, something I forgot to mention in terms of Yuzuki Ayakawa. Yuzuki Ayakawa will have a match on the January 21st Korakuen Hall show, that pay-per-view we were talking about before, where she will team with Starlight and Natsupoi against Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurora, and Uriah Hime. Don't forget, after Dream Queendom, or after the Rumble at Dream Queendom, Yuzuki Ayakawa said that she wanted to take on Uriah Hime in a singles match. This will be a prelude to that. However, don't think Yuzuki Ayakawa will be terribly impressed with what she saw here. Saki Kashima rolling her up, as she has done with many people. Azumi, like we were talking about before, in less than 2 minutes, Matt.
Maybe Saki Kashima's final match, which we talked about, will be against Yuzuki Ayakawa. What a full circle moment that would be. And she rolls her up in 5 pieces out. You know what I mean? See ya.
It will be the most Saki Kashima thing in the world. Absolutely. I want it to be like a really big person like Micah or someone like that. Just 5 seconds. See you later, guys. Been fun. See you in a bit. Runs off. No speech. Nothing. Just runs off.
You know who could be, because who she have the most history with? Mayu. So you bring Mayu back from Marigold and she pins Mayu 4 seconds.
Imagine the amount of money that would cost, the amount of money and political maneuvering that would take to just have Saki roll her up in 5 seconds.
Remember she did the Cinderella tournament like 2023 in Korakuen Hall.
Stopwatch.
This was it. Saki Kashima comedy.
Our review, by the way, has already gone longer than the match.
No rating. This was fun. It was funny. God bless you, Uriah Hime. Saki Kashima, we're gonna miss you, but we're gonna enjoy these last 3 months. No rating, good sir, or 5 stars. Very much like the Shoko versus Hyper Masao match. Either 5 stars or no rating. I can't figure it out.
Match made my head explode. Moving on, Olympia and Sayarina defeating Amisori and Rana Yagami. Matt, lots of heavy hitting in this. Lots and lots of heavy hitting in this. Obviously, we had a bit of a callback to that fantastic number 1 contendership match between Saya Ida and Amisori. Give me Olympia and Amisori. I am more than up for that as a singles match.
Yeah, really good stuff. My only complaint with this match is probably yours and everybody's. Well, only 10 minutes. I wish it would have got like 20. Because this was great against Saeed and Ami. So I have such great chemistry. We mentioned about that number 1 contendership match they had a few months ago in Korakuen Hall. Then they had an absolute hidden gem of a match in last year's 5-star Grand Prix. Really great stuff. Again, Rana Yagami is just another one that's really coming into her own, and I'm so excited to see what she's going to do in 2026. And Olympia is absolutely fantastic. We don't know how long she's staying in Stardom for, but the longer the better, because I'm thoroughly enjoying everything she's doing here. This was a great hard-hitting tag match right up my alley, with Saya Ida getting a big win here. And again, Saya Ida, arguably the most over person on this show in a sold-out Shinjuku face. Really great tag team wrestling. 3 3/4 stars from me.
Alex Windsor and Kikyo Furusawa versus Konami and Fukigen Death. I mentioned it before. I would not be opposed to watching Alex Windsor versus Konami for that Y belt. I think that would be a really, really, really good melding of styles.
Yeah, you had your comedy here with Kikyo Furusawa and Fukigen Death. You know, Fukigen Death obviously wrestling probably had more matches than Kikyo Furusawa probably has in years. But I think I had that the other way around. But you know what I mean. So I like the comedy there, but you're absolutely right. The bread and butter of this match was Konami and Alex Windsor. Really great stuff between the two. And again, maybe that's somewhere where they go. If Konami does retain the belt, maybe Alex Windsor is your next challenger. Again, once we get in those Korakuen shows, kind of have an idea where we're going. This was really great stuff. Alex Windsor getting another win with the Windsor knot, which is fantastically named. 3.5 stars for me, good sir.
Moving on to your semi-main event of the show, a continuation of the boiling of Mavida Loca and EXV and Micah and Suzu Suzuki. Obviously, this is a feud that goes all the way back to 2023, the Stardom Cast feud of the year, 2023. If Suzu's fit, which I'm hoping she is, obviously she did return for Risa Sera's retirement match yesterday, that could be really, really special. That could be really, really brutal as well. And we got a little taste here of Micah and Suzu and the deep-seated resentment they have towards each other. big fan of this, Matt. And we'll talk a little bit about where we think that unit match is going to go after the 11th, because I've already sort of spoken to you about how I think it's going to go. I'll be intrigued to see how you feel about this as well.
Yeah, this match was great. The bell rings, and it's just like Mike and Suzu are going to start. We're like, okay, here we go. And how do they start, Rob? They don't do any catch can wrestling. They don't do the Fuking Death comedy spot. They start forming each other in the face as hard as humanly possible. Now you're really in. And again, where do you go from there? Right? So they got that great separation, and then you get this great hard-hitting exchange between Xena and one Rina Yamashita, which was terrific. Again, Rina's terrific. And then Waka gets in there, and, we're going to say, Rob, poor Waka. She just takes a butt kicking. After we see this great stuff with Mike and Suzu and Xena and Rina, then Waka gets in there, and she just gets her butt kicked. But then she just has great fire. She has got great babyface sympathy. The crowd gets really, really behind her. Really great stuff, again, with Mike and Xena as a tag team. Even great stuff with Mike and Rina. I thought that was excellent stuff. Again, Micah, we sorely missed her. We got glad she's back and in full force. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with her in this year. I think me and you have her pegged for big things this year, possibly main eventing the show in Yokohama coming up in the spring. But towards the end, though, it just becomes Rina beating up on poor Waka, putting Rina away with her version of the B-Driver. 3.5 stars for me. Really great stuff, but for me, this is all about Micah versus Suzu Suzuki, which I cannot wait until we get that big singles match, hopefully coming up sometime soon.
So the main event of this show, Cosmic Angels versus God's Eye. And my little hot take, Matt, is I thought this was the match of the two shows. I thought this was absolutely fantastic. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the number one contendership three-way. But this, for me, I don't know what it was. I don't know whether it was the chemistry, the partnerships, whether it's just because I really love the tenacious nature of, to be honest, both these teams, but God's Eye in particular. There was just something about this. I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I thought this was an absolute barn burner.
Rob, I did give that three-way from the day show 4.25 stars, and I had this one 4.25 stars.
There
so the
you
same
go.
star rating, but I think I just liked just the other man, maybe because Hazuki and Izumi were in it. I don't know. But regardless, this was great. This was almost like an impromptu number one contenders match for the Artists of Stardom Championship. And I love how it starts with Aya and Tomoka, where they're trying to, basically they're throwing low kicks, they're throwing quick little jabs. They're basically trying to find the distance. And then Tomoka is able to close the distance. And she hits this over the hand slap to Aya that just echoes in Shinjuku face. And I'm like, this is how we're starting? Okay. All right. Then you get great stuff with Yuna and Hina. And again, I'm so excited to see what Hina is going to do this year, because she just really, we always know she was like really good. But then like towards the end of that 5-star Grand Prix and her future Stardom Championship run, she just came out of nowhere. And again, we'll talk about that fantastic artist match. The last Stardom match we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. She was terrific here. This trio really works. It's the hard-hitting nature with Tomoka, Lady C, and Hina. I mean, I love how they put together a tag team move, a triple or a 6-person tag move where you do have Hina going for the STO, Lady C going for the Russian leg sweep, and then Tomoka just comes and kicks the person in the face. So I really like that. We got great teamwork here with God's Eye. We've seen Yuna, Aya, and Sayaka team before. If you remember, about a year or so ago, a little over a year ago, they did challenge Tam, Soriano, and Natsupoi for the Artist Stardom Championships. Obviously, Aya and Sayaka, they won the tag league last year. If you remember, the year before in 2024, Aya and Yuna were pretty much like the MVPs of the tag league. So really great symmetry between these two teams. This was great. Worked on all sorts of levels. Great stuff with Tomoka and Sayaka. Like Tomoka really laying the kicks in to one Sayaka Kurora, only for Aya to make her comeback. Aya and Sayaka have always been really good as a team, but it really seems like these last 3 or 4 months, they have potential to be one of the best tag teams in all of Joshi. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to do in this year. Excellent stuff, buddy. Again, it's not too much of a hot take. I'm totally not that far behind with this being the best match of these two shows. Again, 4.25 stars with Hina getting the win with the Mad Splash. Again, a great way to end these two back-to-back shows.
Speaking of back-to-back, we then move on to this weekend's 2 shows in Korakuen Hall, Stardom running the 10th and the 11th in the venue. A couple of things to point out before we move on to the results of the 10th show. Risa Sera would make her final Stardom appearance on this show. Her retirement show was obviously set for the 12th of January. Prior to the show, she had wrestled 60 matches for the company and is a former Artist of Stardom champion. Just prior to the show, unfortunately, it was announced that both Suzu Suzuki and Xena would be missing the show. However, it was confirmed that Xena would be part of the card on the 11th, whereas Suzu would miss both of these shows but would be back on the 12th. Motoi and Emma both continue to miss out due to injury, and obviously Saya Kamatani continues to have a paid leave of absence, as she put it. This first show in Korakuen Hall, 1,346 in attendance, a 20.07 increase from the last time the company ran the venue, which was 1,121 for the Christmas Eve show. 22nd Korakuen Hall show in a row, and the 26th of the last 27 to surpass the 1,000 mark. Just to give you some indication of how good a number this is, you have to go back to October 2024 for the last time Stardom didn't draw 1,000 people to Korakuen Hall, which is honestly quite an astonishing statistic.
And I think Tony Storm was on that show.
Tony Storm was on that show. It was the preview tag for Nagoya Golden Fight.
It's wild. Absolutely wild. It's literally at a point. Remember, we used to pop whenever Stardom would do it. Oh, they did 1,000. That's a great number. Now it's at a point. Now. Yeah, now it's just like we expect them to do not only 1,000, but like 1,100 or like 1,200. It's just like, and I checked the tickets for these next two Korakuen shows that they're running. They're just about sold out, or the first one's almost sold out. The one that's at the end of the month is, I think, half sold out. So, yeah.
I mean, the 21st, when you consider that you've also got Yuzuki Ayakawa's return on that show as well, that's a big reason. And actually thinking about it, we had that discussion about pay-per-view. That's probably a contributing factor as well.
Good thinking, but you talked yourself into it. Yeah, good job. You do all the news. You should maybe create a new website where you talk about maybe the world of Joshi.
Look at you. Look at you. Let's talk about the results then. We open with a tag team match. Hazuki and Fuwa-chan defeating Koguma and Ann Kanai. Hazuki submitting Ann Kanai with the crossface in 12 minutes and 29 seconds. In a tag team match, Aya Sakura and Sayaka Kurora defeated the Stars team of Bea Priestley and Yuri Ahime. Sayaka Kurora pinning Yuri with the Tokameki Spear in 12 minutes and 39 seconds. 8-woman tag action next. The team of Sayurida Momokogo, Alex Windsor, and Olympia defeated the God's Eye team of Syuri, who it has just been announced earlier today will be at the New Beginning in the USA show, presumably defending the IWGP Women's Championship. Saki Kashima, Rani Yagami, and Kyoko Kotatsu, with Sayurida rolling up Saki with the Ida Bashi in 6 minutes and 30 seconds. Of course, Saki took that defeat so badly that she announced her retirement. Tag team match next. Mavida Loka, Tsuki Aoki, and Bozilla. They defeated Waka Tsukiyama and Kikyo Furusawa. Itsuki getting the pinfall over Kikyo with the frog splash in 6 minutes and 56 seconds. 6-woman tag action next. Starlight Kid, Mei Seira, and Yuki Mashiro, who fit in really well with Neo Genesis, defeated the Cosmic Angels team of Natsupoi Sioriano and Yuna Mizumori. Yuki getting the win over Yuna Mizumori with the wonderfully named Extra Large Clutch in 9 minutes and 24 seconds. 8-woman tag action next. The God's Eye team of Tomoka Inaba, Lady C, Amisori, and Hina defeated the H.A.T.E team of Konami, Rina, Azusa Inaba, and Fukigen Death. Tomoka Inaba getting the win over Fukigen Death with the Inaba drop in 8 minutes and 35 seconds. Tag team action next. EXV, Maika, and Rian defeated the Mavida Loka team of Rini Yamashita and Akira Kuragane. Maika pinning Akira with the Michinoku Driver 2 in 8 minutes and 6 seconds. In a singles match, Hanako defeated Risa Sera, submitting her with the Shirasagi in 11 minutes and 59 seconds in what is Risa Sera's final ever Stardom match. And then in your main event, the 36th Goddesses of Stardom champions BMI 2000, Natsuko Tora and Ruaka, successfully retained their championship, defending it successfully for a fourth time, defeating O2 Line Azumi and Miyu Amasaki, with Natsuko Tora pinning Miyu Amasaki with a swanton bomb in 17 minutes and 5 seconds. So, Matt, obviously, another great bit of business there from Stardom to put Fuwa-chan on the YouTube free part of the show. And once again, I thought they did a very, very good job accenting what Fuwa-chan does really well. Her and Hazuki are a partnership that's tried and tested. They've teamed together before. Obviously, they put on a really, really, really good match at Dream Queendom. A little bit of kickback from Stardom fans for Fuwa-chan not appearing on every single one of these cards. However, she was on this card, and actually she was seconding on the 11th as well. What did you think of this? This, by the way, the longest match on the card except for the main event.
Makes sense. I totally agree. It's genius to put this on the YouTube to get more eyes on Stardom, and then you're getting eyes on the great wrestler that's Kanai, the great wrestler that's Kagama, and the great wrestler that will be pushed to the moon this year in one Hazuki, Rob Goodwin. I'm putting it out there. Again, I told you last week I'm going to be more positive this year than I've ever been, and I have a great feeling Hazuki is going to be doing major things in Stardom in 2026. But again, great way to get newer eyes on Stardom. This was a really terrific match. Although, again, a match less than 13 minutes, it was the second longest match on the show, maybe because there was 9 minutes. But I thought it worked out really well. I thought Kagama had put Fuwa-chan in spots to achieve. Kanai was really great here as well. And I know you mentioned last week, Rob, maybe potentially Fuwa-chan and FWC challenging and maybe winning the artist belts. I think that would be really great for all parties involved. And again, Kanai just continues to impress. The only problem with her in this match was she got pummeled by Hazuki, which I guess that's what happens, my friend. That's what happens. This was a really great way to start out the show. 3 3/4 stars for me, good sir.
We then move on to Bea Priestley and Uriah Hime versus Saya Kurora. Obviously, Uriah Hime, since it was announced that she'd be taking on Yuzuki Aikawa, losing all of her matches. But I'm a big fan of Bea and Uriah Hime as a team. Obviously, I would have loved to have seen Uriah Hime and Momokogo in the tag league. That obviously couldn't happen because of Yuri's injury. However, her and Bea, I think, have a really, really, really good understanding in the ring.
It's really weird. You would told me 8 months ago, stars, no Mayu, no FWC, Hanen's hurt. They're still really good. Like,
yeah.
Saida is like a main eventer now. Uriah Hime's really, really coming into her own. Bea Priestley's having the time of her life back in Stardom. Momo Kogu is getting more of an opportunity to shine, which we will always thumbs up. This was a really great match. You literally had 2 tag matches back to back, and this was great strategy from Stardom because you knew a lot of people were tuning in and bought tickets to see Fuwa-chan. What is going to be the next thing after that? You can't have anything have really much of a drop off as far as quality goes. And this match was just as good, if not better, than that hot opener. Again, Aya and Sayaka, I think that this time next year they will have won or may even still be the Goddess of Stardom tag team champions. They're really great individuals. As a tag team, they're really starting to sync up and only getting better. But you're absolutely right. Bea and Uriah, they work really well together. The Bea and Aya stuff was right up my alley. You knew we were going to get. Bea does not hold anything back.
No, she does not.
She fits since day one, since she came back to Stardom. It's just like, yep, here I am. I can hit people really, really hard. I couldn't do it the last place I was at. Again, really great stuff. A nice win here for Sayaka Kurora and Aya Sakura. 3 3/4 stars for me.
Moving on then to the 8-woman tag. Obviously, we've already talked about the big news coming out of this, Saki Kashima announcing her retirement. But what were your thoughts here, Matt? And obviously, again, we briefly revisited Syuri and Alex Windsor, which was obviously, again, a match you can check out for free on YouTube, by the way, from Pro Wrestling Eve. A really good match.
Yeah, you kind of made mention. I'll make mention it now. Well, probably about an hour or so before we hit the record button, it was announced that Syuri is going to be wrestling on that new New Japan New Beginning show. My guess it's going to be her and Alex Windsor, because Alex Windsor will be back in the States, probably working, doing something for AEW. I would not be shocked if on that show, Rob, it is Shuri versus Alex Windsor, which is only about an hour and a half away from my house, Rob. So there may be some live Stardom cast coverage of that match. Again, we shall see. You got a lot of great wrestlers in this match. You know, obviously the comedic stuff that is Saki Kashima, Kyoto Katatsu, and Rana. They always impress me. Olympia is doing great things. We can't say enough great things about Momo Kogo and Saida. 8 wrestlers going less than 7 minutes. Like, I get it. Sometimes you have to speed through these matches. Ultimately, it was really fun. This was a great showcase for the two kind of outsiders in this match with Alex Windsor and Olympia. Shuri didn't get enough Shuri. Obviously, the next day we will get a lot of Shuri stuff on there. But I thought this was a really fun match. 3.5 stars for me. I just wish it would have got a little bit more time to tell their story.
Moving on, Bozilla and Natsuki Aoki versus Waka and Kikyo Furusawa. I have never felt so sorry for 2 wrestlers as much as I felt for Kikyo and Waka walking into this ring and staring down the angry European powerhouse in front of them.
I agree with you a little bit on one half. I never felt so sorry for 2 wrestlers, but I felt sorry for Bozilla and Natsuki Aoki. I thought they were going to get steamrolled. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, this didn't need to be a 50-50 match. This didn't need to be Rock and Roll Midnights where it's a nice 50-50 going back and forth. This is exactly what it needed to be. Waka and Kikyo, they did get their moments in, but this is just these two just, showing the dominance and building up Milvita Loca in Suzu's absence again, because she was off these shows due to illness. 3.25 stars. Again, if just you like seeing Bozilla beat up people, this is the match for you.
Absolutely. We move on then. Again, Yuki Mashiro teaming with Neo Genesis feels right. And more importantly, Yuna Mizumori and Yuki Mashiro running it back for the high-speed title. I'm all up for that, my friend.
Rob, this was great. Again, I wish this would have got more time, because if you look at it, this is kind of setting up Yuna versus Yuki, because they kind of set that up right after Yuna won the match. So I was like, or Yuna won the title, at the last Korakuen. So I was like, okay, you're gonna have Yuna and Yuki pair off, and then maybe we'll get like a makeshift tag team in the match in the middle of this match with Sorapoi versus Starlight Kid and Mei Sarah. And we got a little bit, but this match was all about building Yuki and Yuna, and they did a great job. I had it 3 3/4 stars. Maybe I'll get a little greedy here. I wish we would have got more of Sorapoi versus Starlight Kid and Mei Sarah, but this match was just to build up Yuki and Yuna Mizumori. I thought Starlight Kid was great here, dressed in all the red, Rob. I don't know if foreshadowing, or maybe that was the only thing that she had clean out of her 84,000 outfits that she has. But again, really great stuff. It's always great seeing Starlight Kid versus Natsupoi. It's always great seeing Starlight Kid versus Soriano. They've had so many great matches. Mei Sarah is such a special talent, and we'll get into her match with Hazuki that you almost forget in this loaded roster. She's one of the best wrestlers on this planet. Yuna's absolutely terrific here. Yuki, who I believe she's only like 16 or 17, Rob, correct? Isn't she still like very young in life? They absolutely stole the show in this match. Again, 3 3/4 stars for me. I'm so excited for that high-speed match coming up here in just a few days' time.
Moving on, a bit of a preview tag for the Artist of Stardom Championships, Matt. How do you think God's Eye fared here against H.A.T.E?
This was fantastic. Again, Amisori was great here, and Fukin Death was great here. But again, this is basically your final home stretch for the very next day in the main event with Lady C, Hina, Tomoka versus Rina, Konami, and Azusa. Well, obviously I know with Azusa and Amisori kind of playing the outliers here. They did a great job giving just a little bit of a preview. And I remember like when I was watching this match, it was towards the end, and I'm like, this match is this good. Are they going to be able to outdo their match tomorrow? And we'll get into it because that match was absolutely fantastic. The start of this match and the start of their championship match the next day started with Tomoka and Rina. And both times I was like, and I have written in my notes, I want to see Rina versus Tomoka proper 13, 14, 15-minute match, because those two just work well together, as does Tomoka and Konami, as does Lady C, big booting everybody right in the face, Rob, as you always say. the best big boot in the business. Again, Ami Sourei was great here. She comes in, she kind of plays the hits, but this match was all about building up anticipation for the championship match coming up in just a few days' time. They also did a great job highlighting Hina. Again, I expect her to have a big year in professional wrestling in 2026. 4 stars for me. I thought this one really hit the mark and really kind of just whet the appetite for the championship match we would get the very next day.
We then move on. Micah and Rian defeating Rina and Akira Kuragani. And what I like here is, in Suzu Suzuki's absence, Micah begins needling Rina. And it's all about, well, you're second to Suzu. Okay, are you sure you want to be a second? You know, just starting to sow those seeds of doubt in Rina, and that anger that she has. Again, it's bringing more and more angles to this really quite furiously built up feud between Mavida Loca and DXV, which really has exploded out of really nothing. And I'm a big fan of that. But Micah is a big instigator of that. And the way that she's needled away at Rina Yamashita here, something between those two is going to really go off at Supreme Fight.
Yeah, you got a really great point here, Rob. And obviously, when you're having these any two factions feud, it's all about the leaders, which again is Suzu and Micah, which again they do have that 2-year backstory. Not only that, Rob, you have Bozilla and Hanako and Bozilla and Megan Bain when Megan Bain does come in. But I tell you what, you know what else has been really good in this rivalry is Rian and Akira. Like, even they're just like, we know, like, we're kind of like not the main players in this, but anytime they're tapping on the shoulder to go at it in the ring, they really absolutely bring it. So it's great stuff there. But yeah, Micah ultimately kind of almost gets in the head of Rina, and there might be something there. I thought this was really solid. 3.5 stars for me. A really good match as we build towards the finish. Rob Goodwin, I do see a puzzling look on your face, buddy. How is your team doing? I need to ask. I do need to ask because I can see you have a really bad poker face on, my friend. So now I'm concerned. Is your team winning, losing? What's going on there?
We're losing 1-0, but it's fine. We were never going to win this game, so I'm not too bothered about it, to be perfectly honest.
I like how you have expectations. Like, it's just like, you know, it's we'll have a good year, we'll have a decent year. I have friends of mine that they follow certain sports teams and they think they should win every game. And I'm like, you won 2 games last year. You're not winning 17 this year. Like, just
I think being British helps being a sports fan, because what I do is I just assume we're never going to win. And then when we do, it's a nice surprise.
Ah, there you go. It's like Christmas.
Absolutely. Just bring that inherent British negativity and you're always going to be surprised. Okay. There you go. That's my way of looking at things.
I like how you take your negativity and turn it to a positive at almost in the same breath. So I like that, buddy. You turn the two into it. It's like having chocolate and vanilla ice cream in this beautiful waffle thing that you get at 7-Eleven in Japan.
There you go. There you go. So many of those consumed. Yeah, we have Hanako and Risa Sera next. It was a beautiful moment to see Hanako being the one to see off Risa Sera into retirement. Obviously, Hanako was given her first opportunity in wrestling at a Prominence show back in 2022, made her debut against Risa Sera and actually wrestled a series of events under the name Fella Risa. And you could see throughout this, Matt, how much this opportunity meant to Hanako.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. These two had a match, which Risa Sera did get the win. So it's basically almost Hanako finally, you know, as Risa's on her way out, putting over Hanako here. Obviously, Hanako is a rising star in Stardom, only wrestling about 2 years, and Hanako obviously doing big things. And again, another wrestler is going to have. I'm really looking forward to see what she does in 2026 and 2027. Risa Sera, I thought she was great here. I thought this was really great, hard hitting. They didn't overstay its welcome. It did what it needed to do. Great stuff from Risa. Obviously, Hanako really, and I like how like Risa Sera like wouldn't say die. Like Hanako really, I mean, she's the JP Coast. There's so many different lariats. The Shirasagi has to go back to the Shirasagi. I mean, there was a lot of fight in Risa Sera, and Hanako really had to use her size and strength to wear down Risa Sera, eventually forcing her to tap out with the Shirasagi. 3 3/4 stars, a really good semi-main event.
And finally, your main event, BMI 2000 versus So 2 line. Miyu Amasaki deserves props to start off with for doing her handspring drop kick whilst still in her entrance robe and nailing it as well, like nailing the landing. That cannot be easy. Miyu Amasaki, MVP of this match.
Yep.
Love Azumi, love Natsuko Tora. Ruaka is improving every single time she's in the ring, and this championship reign is going to be the making of it. I'm such a huge fan of BMI 2000 as the champions. But Miyu Amasaki was the standout. And this match really, really did serve to elevate Miyu. And the fact as well, BMI 2000 absolutely nailed the use of the mist. If Bushi is watching after that match against Marufuji, where nobody knew what had happened, this was perfect.
I'm gonna use my desk. I'm gonna use my new desk prop. Standing ovation. Yes.
There you go. There you go. Referee's distracted with Rina. That's fine. Spit out that mist. Cover Miyu in it. See, you've ruined it now. Look at it.
I don't know how to work this.
It's like trying to teach your granddad to use an answering machine.
There it goes. Here I am coming back, folks.
What is happening?
This is why you should watch on YouTube and listen to the audio as well, buddy.
I really hope it continues going down and you can't control it and there's no way of stopping it.
Hold on, we're going to hit the down button now.
Oh, no. No.
It doesn't crush my knees. Oh, it stops there. Okay.
Okay, there you go. You're good now, bro?
I'm always good. I want to give you a standing ovation because you're absolutely right. As soon as I saw the double miss and I was like, this is a complete 180 of what we saw in Budokan.
But it's a great tag match. It's a really, really, really good tag match. Yes, I'm giving huge props to Miyu Amasaki, but BMI 2000 are fantastic.
Do you think they should have pulled the trigger and changed the belts here? Because when I saw the finish, I was like, ooh, I think they missed a step here. I think the crowd was ready for it. This was great. I think this is the best BMI 2000 tag match. This may be the best O2 line tag match. I really have to think about it. Everybody was over, but Miyu Amasaki might have been not only the most over person in this match, but maybe this entire show, especially when the fact that her and Azumi hit that double cradle DDT and the crowd was molten, and then Miyu hits Tora with the Tensai. If they ref would have counted to 3, Korakuen Hall would have lost their minds. And then the ref gets pulled, they get the boos, the double missed. And then it really seemed, and we've seen BMI 2000, they won the belts in this venue before. They've defended them in these in this venue before, where they do the cheating and the bending or the breaking of the rules, Rob. And then it's like 1, 2, 3, boo, like the proper boos. Where to me, it was like 1, 2, 3, and then people were like, oh, O2 line didn't win. So I was like, I don't know. I think, but this might have been the time to crown O2. I actually thought, Rob, that we were going to see two title changes this weekend. I really thought that going into the new year, we would see H.A.T.E start losing some championships. And I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to crown new champions. O2 line, again, crazy over. This was really great stuff. Their teamwork was just on another level. The crowd was so molten hot for them. And it kind of just didn't happen. However, I do like the new tag finish from BMI 2000 with Ruaka hitting the German suplex and then Tora hitting the Swanton. I thought BMI 2000 was absolutely brilliant in this match. The heat was perfectly timed. The comeback was terrific. I liked how getting towards the middle of the match, like the heart of the match, Miyu sets Azumi up for that corner-to-corner dive that we see Azumi hit on a lot of big matches. And then Tora out of nowhere, I didn't know where she came, stops Azumi and gets the proper heat. I thought that was really great stuff. It was really great stuff back and forth. There were so many great near falsies with that leg capture O'Connor roll from Miyu Amasaki. And I love the symmetry of, and we've seen BMI 2000 use this move a lot to win, where they hit the splashes at the same time in the same corner, the double freezer bombs. And then they go for it and they both miss. And then at the same time, Azumi hits the Azumi Sushi, and then Miyu Amasaki hits the leg capture O'Connor roll. I'm like, oh, that's cool. They're kind of using their own tactics against them, but with the O2 line kind of twist on it. I thought that was really, really cool. I thought that was really awesome. The crowd really bit on that. And again, they were so into when O2 line hit that double cradle DDT onto Tora, and then the Tensai hit the Tora. I was like, I thought that was it. I was literally had goosebumps watching this. I'm like, this is where they're gonna crown it. Azumi's finally gonna get a tag champ here. and the ref got pulled. I'm like, okay, they're gonna build back up to it. And then we get the double mist. Zumi gets taken out with a clothesline. Then we get that new tag finisher from BMI 2000. Again, Rob, this was absolutely brilliant. This was probably my favorite match of these 4 shows we were reviewing, which is going to say something because there's been a lot of great wrestling. I just think maybe this might have been the time to pull the trigger and put the belt on O2 line. But again, we shall see. Obviously, BMI 2000, they draw really well as tag champions in Korakuen. I thought I saw a stat where their average when they're in the main event is something like close to 1,200 people, which is insane. 4 3/4 stars. I thought this was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, really, really, really solid main event. And again, BMI 2000 really, really elevating those championships. They feel like a really, really dominant set of champions. And that's great. It's great for the belt. It's great to elevate the challengers because even though they didn't win, O2 Line feel really like a cemented member of this tag team roster. Miyu Amasaki, especially, who both of us have said at different points, feels like she's treading water in some cases because, again, was nowhere near in the 5-star, hasn't really been challenging for belts, hasn't really had a direction yet as a part of O2 Line and being given that chance to flourish. I think she really did take that chance with both hands. She felt like she had a point to prove in this match and did it tremendously well, but all credit as well to BMI 2000, who, by the way, Matt Turner, become only, I believe, the second, just let me find my statistic. Oh, no, I haven't put it down. Never mind. I believe they are only the second team since 2022 to reach. Oh, no, ignore me. It's later on. Ignore me. Moving on anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the second of these shows from Korakuen Hall, the 11th of January 2026, again from Korakuen Hall, 1,356 people in attendance, giving Stardom a total of 2,072 over the 2 nights at 2,700, over 2,700 over the 2 nights at the venue. The number on the 11th of January, a 10-person and 0.74% increase from the previous night, becomes the 23rd Korakuen Hall show in a row to reach 1,000 people. Again, every single time they pass that threshold, it really, really does throw into sharp relief how big this company is going. Now, in terms of the Artist of Stardom Championships, I knew this was a statistic about H.A.T.E and the championship. It turns out it's the Artist. A win for H.A.T.E tonight would make them only the second team since 2022 to make it to 3 successful title defenses with the Artist of Stardom Championships, which is a mind-boggling statistic when you think about how many championships there have been, or championship reigns there have been with that belt. In terms of injuries, obviously a continuation. Xena returns to this show. Suzu Suzuki still out, as is Matoi, as is Emma, as is Saya Kamatani. This show would see the Stardom debut of Maki Itoh. Also, CMLL Japan Women's Championship would be on the line. Mei Seira's second attempt at the belt, having lost to Hoovia in the May of 2025. Current record between Mei Seira and Hazuki, 1-1-1, with Seira finally getting a victory over Hazuki at Crimson Nightmare on November the 3rd. In terms of matches, then, we started 5-on-4 handicap match. The EXV team of Maika, Hanako, Xena, Waka Tsukiyama, and Rian defeated the Mavida Loka team, of Bozilla, Rina Yamashita, Itsuki Aoki, and Akira Kuragane, with Maika pinning Rina with a modified Michinoku Driver 2 in 13 minutes and 22 seconds. 6-woman tag team match. The Stars team of Sayurida, B. Priestley, and Yuri Ahime defeated the H.A.T.E team of Natsuko Tora, Ruaka, and Azusa Inaba. B. Priestley pinning Tora with the Oklahoma Roll in 8 minutes and 23 seconds. Three-way match, Azumi defeated Momokogo and Ann Kanaya, with Azumi pinning Ann Kanaya with the Azumi Sushi in 5 minutes and 54 seconds. 8-woman tag team match, Starlight Kid, Miyu Amasaki, Natsupoi, and Yuna Mizumori defeated the God's Eye team of Amisori Saki Kashima, Kyoka Kitatsu, and Kikyo Furusawa, with Starlight Kid pinning Kikyo with the Tiger Suplex in 10 minutes. Tag team match, the tag team dream team of Suri and Alex Windsor defeated the God's Eye team of Shiori and Rani Yagami. Alex Windsor submitting Rani Yagami with the Windsor knot in 9 minutes and 27 seconds. Tag team match, Sayaka Kurora, and Aya Sakura defeated Maki Itoh and Saori Anou, with Aya Sakura pinning Maki Itoh with the Sakura latch in 12 minutes and 11 seconds. CMLL Japan Women's Championship match, Hazuki defended successfully against Meisera with a modified Emerald Flosion in 18 minutes and 10 seconds in a fantastic match. And then in your main event, the Artist of Stardom Championships were on the line. The H.A.T.E team of Konami, Rina, and Fukigen Death defended successfully against the God's Eye team of Tomoka Inaba, Lady C, and Hina. Rina pinning her sister with a Vertebreaker in 22 minutes and 19 seconds. So we open, Matt, with that handicap match. Obviously, this was supposed to be a 5-on-5, but Suzu Suzuki's injury made it a handicap match. Bozilla's injury then handicapped Mi Vida Loca further. We were talking about what's going to happen at Supreme Fight with the unit disbands match, which was set up after this. Mi Vida Loca have really struggled to build momentum since their incarnation. And I would argue that the last time they felt really like they were going places was the debut of Bozilla, when Bozilla arrived. And since then, they've really struggled. Obviously, you've had Suzu Suzuki, who's been in and out with injury, and injuries can't be helped, and illnesses can't be helped. That's not to do with this. Rina Yamashita is a part-timer. Itsuki Aoki is a part-timer, which means for large parts of this, it has been Bozilla and Akira Kuragane who've been carrying Mi Vida Loca. I would argue, if there is going to be a unit disbands match, Mi Vida Loca need to be the one that disband and absorb the members of Mi Vida Loca. And then you can rename EXV to something else.
Yeah, we are, before we hit the record button, we were talking about this, and I think this is the perfect time to kind of bring that back up. We were talking about, about 2 hours ago, partner, because EXV, it was named because of Micah, the Empress, and then V, the Venus, Mina Shirakawa. Mina's been out of Stardom for 8 months now and doing wonderful things with AEW. I'm really enjoying they're basically the love triangle that looks like they're doing with Tony Storm and One Orange Cassidy. But yes, I totally see your point, especially again with Izuki Aoki and Rina Yamashita only in their kind of part-time. Again, we don't know what's going on with Bozilla. Hopefully it's not the ACL thing that'll take her out anywhere between 6 to 12 months. And again, I'm totally with you, partner. I think that they'll dissolve Mi Vida Loca, and then you'll get Suzu and Akira, and then when Bozilla does return, again, hopefully the injury's not that bad. Again, we don't know yet. That they'll go to EXV and then they'll rename it, because I would love to see Mike and Suzu being a tag team. I think like that would be great, like Mike and Suzu versus like a Shiri and a Rani Yagami. I think would be great, or against a Lady C and an Ami. So there's a lot they can do there until they build to that eventual Saya Kamatani versus Micah match, because we know that is definitely a way that they're going to go. So I'm totally with you. I think that, and then they rename it like something more kind of heavy hitting than EXV. But we'll see what happens after the 7th. I think there'll be a big shift there with some of the factions. But as far as this match goes, 5-on-4 is tricky to do. And then Bozilla gets injured. And again, we made mention at the start of this episode, God bless her, because she seemed like she was wrestling on one leg for half of the match, yet was still very efficient. And again, was still very scary. Was still very dominating on only one leg, which goes to show you just what a next level competitor she is. The best stuff in this match for me was, we made mention in the show before, was Rina and Micah. I hope they do a singles match between the two of them on the build up towards that unit match we have coming up on Supreme Fight. Good way to start the show. 3.5 stars. Again, just a little tricky with a handicap match. And then, unfortunately, Bozilla's injury about halfway through this one.
Moving on, 6-woman tag stars getting a big win over H.A.T.E. Maybe we will see some manner of incarnation of stars being the next challengers for the Goddesses of Stardom championships, Matt.
Yeah, I would love to see maybe B and Uriah Himi get a crack at it, because again, B's doing fantastic stuff here. B getting the win, and even when she won, she was kind of pointing at the belts. So does she take Saeed? Does she take Uriah Himi? Does she take heavy metal Momo Kogo, Rob? That's a possibility. I think any way will work, because BMI 2000 are so hot as heels right now, especially in Korakuen. Maybe, Rob, on that pay-per-view Korakuen, maybe that's one of the big matches, is BMI 2000 defending against B Priestley and any member of Stars. I think that'd be a great way to go. And again, BMI 2000 is doing some fantastic work. But don't count on Azusa Inaba. She was great here as well. Saeed, man, was so over in this match. She comes out, barely cuts the curtain, and the people are going absolutely ballistic for her. But B Priestley getting a big win, potentially settling up a Goddess of Stardom tag team title shot somewhere in the future, which I am all for. 3 3/4 stars for me.
3-way match. Your standard Stardom 3-way fare, really. But it's always good to see Azumi in these high-speed settings, which is her bread and butter. But I am always going to be a fan of Momo Kogo in these situations, who does not get anywhere near the love she deserves.
Yeah, I know, Rob. We talked off air that we're very much like last year. We're going to be doing our predictions for 2026, like how we did for 2025. I'll tell you right now, one of my predictions, maybe I'm just being hopeful, is Momo Kogo will be high-speed champion. I think they're going to be shaking a lot of things up in the high-speed division. I'm thinking Momo Kogo does wear that high-speed championship. She was great here. Again, Azumi, in my opinion, the greatest high-speed wrestler in the history of Stardom. And Kanai was great here as well. She's somebody else that maybe can challenge for the high-speed championship coming up in a few months' time. Really great stuff. You have Azumi and again, you just reminded just what a next-level competitor Azumi is. 3 3/4 stars for me.
8-woman tag. Obviously, this is the first time that Saki Kashima has come out with that retirement almost hanging over her. It's going to be sad to see her go again, not only because she's a unique competitor, but also because of the dimension she adds to God's Eye. Because God's Eye, when they first started, especially when it was sort of Amisori, Lady C, and Syuri,
Mirai.
They were all sort of, and Mirai as well. Sorry, I meant Mirai rather than Lady C. They were all sort of the same mold of wrestler. We are heavy-hitting, legitimate wrestlers. And Saki Kashima's comedy and cowardice added a completely different style to that, almost humanized these dominant wrestlers because they were forced to be entertaining because of the way Saki Kashima was. And I think that's going to be something we are going to desperately miss when she's gone.
Rob, do you maybe this is something just popped in my head, maybe because I grew up watching WWF in the 80s where everybody had a manager. What if Saki Kashima is the manager of God's Eye? Like, she doesn't interfere, but she's kind of that comedic thing on the outside. I think that's something that would really work. Because you're like Shuri in there killing people, Ami Sori going there suplexing people on the apron, and then you just have Saki Kashima like promoting some sort of video game or whatever she was doing at the 5-star a couple years ago. Yes. I think that would be great. Obviously she still loves professional wrestling. We still absolutely love Saki Kashima. I think like a managerial role for God's Eye would work. And again, I know kind of managers are kind of passe. I wish they would bring them back because again, I grew up in the era of the Bobby Heenans, the Grand Wizard, the Jimmy Hart, so Dr. Style Slick, so on and so forth. But yeah, I think that would be terrific. As far as this match goes, it was really nice seeing Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. Remember, they were back when Starlight Kid got thrown out of a Wedo tie, where she was going to go, and Starlight Kid and Natsupoi had a tag team. I believe their name was Mutual Love.
It was indeed.
You got a little bit of there. I thought that was great. Again, Yuna's terrific. Kyoto Katatsu is another unsung hero in this loaded roster. Really solid stuff. 10 minutes, I thought was enough time. Maybe a minute or two longer, I would have enjoyed it. But I thought this was really good with Starlight Kid picking up the win over one Kikyo Furusawa, giving Starlight Kid a little more momentum heading into her probably the biggest match of her career, which is saying something. because Starlight Kid's had a lot of big matches, but obviously Starlight Kid, again, having that big championship match coming up in February. I'm to think about it, Rob, the same day as my sweetheart dance. So big day for me in the Turner household.
Quite.
So our review is going to be a double review, my friend. But anywho,
the only way that would be better is if there was apple pie involved.
I think there probably will be, because Amber will probably have to make some sort of dessert. So
Come on.
3 3/4 stars for me, good sir.
Again, we've already sort of talked about this, but Sareee and Alex Windsor is the team to watch. I would love to see more of them together, whether that is in Ring of Honor, whether that is in Stardom, whether that is in AEW. But, Matt, you did mention maybe Sareee versus Alex Windsor, the New Beginning show in Trenton, New Jersey. I certainly wouldn't be opposed to that.
Yeah, I think that's the way they're going, because I know Alex Windsor, I think she's back in either the UK or the States. I thought I saw her put something up on her social medias earlier today. But yeah, considering the fact, depending where AEW is around the East Coast, whether it's Boston, New York, New Jersey, that's a really good possibility. And again, if that's the way they go, it's probably a really good chance that I'll be at said show, because I think that's only 80, 90 minutes away from me. So again, Alex Windsor and Sherry, great stuff there. Sherry and Sareee, remember they had 3 absolutely must-see matches last year. Don't forget about one, Rani Yagami. She was great. Great stuff with her and Alex Windsor. Great stuff with her and Sareee. This was a match when it was announced. I was like, geez, Stardom, you're not giving us any time to breathe. And I am all for it. Really, 9 minutes, 22 seconds. Obviously, Rob, you know what I'm going to say. I wish it went 15, 16, 17, 18 minutes because of all the participants. Again, Shuri and Rani Yagami is a tag team that absolutely works. Absolutely works. And I would not be shocked if we do see them maybe challenge somewhere in 2022 for those Goddesses Stardom Tag Team Championships, or just because Stardom's just in the mood to give us great matches, just do Shuri and Rani Yagami versus FWC, Rob, because why not? Again, really good stuff. 4 stars for me.
Maki Itoh's debut in Stardom, and she loses. But to be fair, it does make sense to the story. Obviously, the miscommunication between her and Saori Anou, obviously stunning Saori Anou by accident, and then obviously Sayaka Kurora getting the pinfall over her with the Sakura latch. What this has led to, though, is a singles match at Supreme Fight in Osaka, where if Aya Sakura wins, Maki Itoh will not be allowed to call herself the cutest in the world in the Stardom ring. Obviously, Aya Sakura taking issue with this because she is the protege, as is Sayaka Kurora, of apparently the real cutest in the ring. So high stakes, Matt. What were your thoughts on Maki Itoh's Stardom debut, bearing in mind that she hasn't actually wrestled a great deal since she left Tokyo Joshi Pro? I think she's only wrestled something like 10 matches between the end of August and here. And I thought she looked really quite solid, and her exchange, especially with Sayaka Kurora, looked really good.
You know, the one thing with Maki Itoh is, like, especially in the States, she kind of comes off more as a comedy wrestler than a serious wrestler. And then when I went and did a deep dive into her stuff from Tokyo Joshi Pro, when she's tapped on the shoulder to have that great match, she is a phenomenal worker. She is a really, really great wrestler. And I actually had this text conversation with Andy Zeik from Tokyo Joshi Pod, and he was saying, now that Saki Cash was leaving, do you think Maki Itoh fills in that role of the comedic character? And I'm like, she can, but this is Stardom. Like, I love Tokyo Joshi Pro. Stardom's a whole nother level than really any wrestling company out there. Can she do the comedy stuff and still get over? Yes, we saw it on her entrance where she came out through the crowd and was wildly over. Even in this match, doing the comedy stuff, she was wildly over. Maki Itoh is a very great and underrated wrestler. And considering the fact that she's thrown right into the deep end with Aya and Sayaka, and possibly setting a matchup with Saori Anou as well, this match set up a lot. This was a really, really great match. Again, I mentioned it before. I'm going to mention again. Aya and Sayaka are connecting as a tag team on a completely different level these last few shows. And considering the fact that they won the tag tournament, they're the New Blood Tag Champs. They were in Sumo Hall in front of 6,500 people challenging BMI 2000 for the Goddess belts. They really just seem these last 2 or 3 months, they're consistently getting better. So Again, they were great as a tag team here. It's very interesting to see. I love how like Maki Itoh makes her big entrance and she's singing and the crowd's all pumped up and Soriano is just sitting there in the corner and just like didn't blink at all. Like it's like, what have I gotten myself into? Like, what is this? And then I love how like Soriano, when she accidentally takes the stunner, she takes it like Scott Hall did in WrestleMania 18. I thought that was like the most overselling bump for someone that's like 6 inches shorter than her. But this like Maki Itoh entrance, like it sets up. And again, she's when she showed up at the day before to sign the contract, massive pop. When she showed up here, massive pop. So you set up her and Aya, right? It's already signed, sealed, and delivered. We just need the match graphic. You set that up for a Supreme fight. Potentially set up a match with Soriano as well if they go that route. You could also set up a Maki Itoh versus Sayaka Kurara match. Obviously, Rob, clearly this is going to set up Maki Itoh and Tam Nakano at the Tokyo Dome.
Of course, yeah,
for the most important belt of all time. He was truly the cutest in the world. You know what else this sets up, Rob? Maybe even bigger than Maki Itoh and Tam Nakano. Maki Itoh and Rion, because the Rionators are very upset that she stole her move. And I have never, now obviously Maki Itoh, she's in Stardom 10 minutes, and she's already stunning people on the wrong team. Like she stunned Soriano. Rion's been in Stardom for over a year. I'd never seen her accidentally stun Micah. Everybody beats up on Waka except for who? Rion. Why? Because she's on the same team. So get your stuff together, Maki Itoh. Like start studying the right people. Guess who's coming for you? Stone Cold Rion. And she's going to be slamming some Sapporo beers. And you know what happens when you drink those Sapporo beers, Rob. You're going to be angry. But anywho, as far as this match goes, I think this was great. It was entertaining. Maki, again, she was terrific here. Soriano against members of her own faction was really good here. Again, to me, the highlight of this match was just how great the symmetry of Sayaka Kurara and Aya Sakura were in this one. 4 stars for me. I thought this was a really terrific match with a really great ending.
Semi-main event time. Hazuki versus Mei Seira. I've said it 3 times already, but why Stardom do not strap the rocket to Hazuki is beyond me. She is so obscenely over everywhere she goes. Every time she is given the tap on the shoulder, she produces fantastic matches. Her and Mei Seira are an underrated partnership in Stardom. They are just made to work with each other. And this was another fantastic addition to their catalog of matches. I thought it was fantastic. My one nitpick, and it is the one small nitpick, I thought Mei Seira kicked out of one too many of Hazuki's moves. I think the second vertical drop brainbuster should have been the finish. That aside, Mei Seira, the resilience that Mei Seira showed in this match, it was a completely different side of Mei Seira. Hazuki basically dominated 75% of this match. And Mei Seira just kept going. And I think we're going to see Mei Seira sort of graduate away from the high-speed division. And this was almost her trial to say, okay, let's put you in a title position. Let's see what you can do. It was almost a dress rehearsal for Mei Seira to have a white belt match later on in the year. Let's see what you're like wrestling a different style, a different storytelling style. And I think she excelled. I really, really do.
Rob, your one nitpick, I'm glad you brought it up. Your one nitpick, you basically just answered your own question. You were saying, how come Mei Seira kicked out of so much stuff Hazuki did? Because she's graduating to the next level.
Do you not think, though, she'd already kicked out of a brainbuster? She'd already kicked out of 2 sentons at different parts. Had it been... I just think that the one vertical drop brainbuster after a senton, then another senton and Mei Seira kicks out. I think that was enough. Again, it didn't take me out of the match. It was just an observation. However, getting Mei Seira's resilience over was the main crux of this match. And it really did that. It really, really did.
Not only that, Robin, again, I'm going to great point, but I'm going to counterpoint. What did Hazuki have to do to beat Mei Seira? She brought out her nuclear finisher that we've only seen her use once before. Mm-hmm. So now it's like Hazuki now has a nuclear finisher maneuver. Shades of, and anytime I see that, obviously tip my cap to, in my opinion, the greatest Japanese wrestler of all time, the late great Mitsuharu Misawa. So maybe that is the next thing to get Hazuki over to that next level. Now, Rob, very much like you, I have one nitpick in this match. It's not the same thing as you. My nitpick is that Konami didn't walk out and just give Hazuki the Wonder of Stardom Championship. I don't know why that didn't happen. This was great. They had a great match back at Supreme Fight in 2023. We made mention of the match they had at Crimson Nightmare just a few months ago, back in the fall of 2025. As great as those matches were, Rob, this one was my favorite of the three. This was great. Literally the point where it's just like I'm looking at my notes, and I have terrible handwriting to begin with, but I can kind of, because it's my own terrible handwriting, I can kind of read it. It was so fast paced. It was just like, I'm going to miss certain parts of this match. And then it slowed down and it built back up. And then we went from a high-speed match to a hard-hitting match to near falls. I loved how we see Hazuki do that great suicide dive. And we've seen it stop time and time before, but we never seen anybody do a drop kick Hazuki right in the head to stop that suicide dive. And then literally, and I love it when somebody goes for a high spot and it gets taken away. Like, oh, we really wanted to see it. And then it comes back in the match when it means more. And literally, because of Mei Seira is so over with this crowd, as is Hazuki, when Mei hits the drop kick, you don't boo it because like, oh, that was awesome. But then Hazuki hits it as the match is building towards its crescendo. Really great stuff here. Hazuki kicks out of the checkmate. They go back and forth with the Hazuki straw and the shooting star roll up. They stack each other's respective quick roll-ups. I thought that was great. You didn't know which way it was going to go. The forearms to the drop kicks to the big boots to this, everything there was just next level. And like literally you're halfway through this match, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot Mei Seira is in this company. And you can make an argument that she's one of the best wrestlers, and in my opinion, the best wrestling company on the planet, that's Stardom. This was great. Mei Seira getting over to that next level. Literally the point where it's just like, yeah, if they run Mei Seira versus Konami in 2 or 3 weeks, I buy it. If they run Mei Seira versus Saya Kamatani for the red belt in 2 or 3 months, I buy it. Again, I thought they did a great job getting Mei Seira's toughness over in this match, because we know she's such a smooth wrestler that we never really seen her have a match where she kind of had to gut it out. And Hazuki really beat her to pillar to post, which eventually Hazuki having to break out her version of the Emerald Frozen. I thought this was phenomenal. 4 3/4 stars for me. Just really next level stuff from 2 unbelievable wrestlers, my friend.
Moving on then to your main event. And Matt, you've been talking about this. This was something you wanted to talk about. H.A.T.E versus God's Eye and that exchange between Rina and Hina at the end of this match, leading up to that crescendo of that final pinfall, that final vertebraker. I thought those two really did showcase that they belong at the top of this company.
Yeah, I didn't watch this one live. I think this was on a Sunday, so I know who won, but I wish I would have watched this live because, again, very much like the O2 line versus BMI 2000 match, I thought we were going to see new champions. Now, that match from the day before, I did watch live when it happened, but there were a lot of points in this match where I thought there was going to be a title change, especially like when Tomoka hits the head kick, Lady C hits the big boot, and then Hina hits the Hina hammer on Rina. I'm like, that's the finish. And very much like the day before, the crowd was ready. 1, 2, here it comes, and then Rina kicks out. But then because Rina's so over that when Rina gets the win with the vertebraker, they pop for that. Again, it was great. And I loved how like Fukigen Death, she does this one spot where she rolls up Hina, but she's not legal. But she rolls up Hina to where Hina rolls all the way up. That sets up for Rina's Pink Devil. I was like, that was really creative. I love the stuff with Tomoka and Konami. Again, they have similar styles that absolutely work. Lady C was an absolute hammer in this match. Literally the point where halfway through the match, like you get in the heat build up, you get a little heat on Hina, a little heat on Tomoka, and then Lady C comes in, she's the hammer, and then puts in Rina, Fukigen Death, and Konami all at the same time in the abdominal stretch. You know, we're 8 matches in. This is like match like 15 in the last 24 hours, and you see something different in this match, and the crowd is all into it. Again, everybody played their role so well. A great triple team stuff from the God's Eye trio. Great triple team stuff from the Artist Champions. I love that that triple team bulldog, like the Steiner style bulldog that they do. It just really fits in well with Rina, Fukigen Death, and Konami. Again, great stuff back and forth. Ultimately, we get a mini match with Rina and Hina. And again, if I'm Stardom and I'm looking at the 5-star Grand Prix, I'm like, first of all, I'm dividing into 2 days, like how they used to, which was always really good. And I'm putting Hina versus Rina, match number 1, and just be like, you got 11 minutes, girls. Here's the finish. go out there and crush it. These two were absolutely fantastic towards the end. Hina getting over almost as much as Saida has these past few shows. So if you're keeping track at home, folks, you have your main interventions of Azumi, Saya Kamatani, Shuri, Starlight Kid, and guess who else is coming up? Saida is right there. Konami's getting the proper booze because she's so great. And then you have Rina getting massively over. And Hina is right there as well. Like, almost just seems like out of nowhere. Like, we always known she was a great wrestler, but she's getting massively over in these big shows, these big venues, important venues like Korakuen Hall. This was fantastic. Don't discount Tomoka Inaba. Her stuff with Konami, they kind of lingered there a little, Rob. So if Konami does retain coming up here at the end of the month, maybe Tomoka Inaba is the next challenger. It really seemed like they were planting the seeds, something there. It might have been something where they're like, let's see if it works. And then sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you pivot. But I wouldn't be shocked if Tomoka Inaba is challenging for that belt in the next month or two. Again, Lady C was booked perfectly here. You know, she's the big hitter. She's the big hammer. But that last 3 or 4 minutes with Hina and Rina, not only was it great, not only was it seamless, but the crowd was absolutely crazy for that pairing. 4 3/4 stars, Rob Goodwin. And this was absolutely fantastic. And Rob, I'm going to volley to you. We saw so much great wrestling on these 4 shows, but the championship matches that we saw in Korakuen Hall, this match here, the artist match, the match we just talked about with Hazuki and Mei Seira, and that fantastic Artist of Stardom championship match that happened the day before. And there's no wrong answer. Can you rank them 1, 2, and 3? Because I have each one of those matches 4 3/4. I don't know how to rank them. I'm just curious what your ranking would be.
So I was a big fan of the Hazuki and Mei Seira match.
Oh, you were?
Realized. I don't think the thing is I'm really closed off. I don't always say what's on my mind. So something I need to work on in 2026. I'm going to go Mei Seira and Hazuki, number 1. Shocking, I know. Then the Goddess match, and then the Artist match, I think is probably my ranking. All great matches, though.
Yeah, I think I'll go the O2 line match, the Hazuki match, and then this. But again, when you have 3 matches that almost make 5 stars in 24 hours, and the fact that it's like, here it is on Stardom World, just pay your $7-8. I mean, it's really embarrassment of riches how great, you know, this wrestling is. Not just Stardom, but even like the stuff we watch in Wrestle Universe with Marigold and Tokyo Joshi Pro and Sendai Girls as well. Like the Joshi scene is just, it's so hot right now that even Rob Van Dam said he only watches women's wrestling. So, I mean, the guy that reinvented the Superfly, basically the high flyer style in the late 90s and early 2000s. So what a great, again, Stardom. It's just like they gave us this great show at the end of the year to put the cherry on top of just a phenomenal year. And then we get these 4 great shows that we're talking about. And there's so much other stuff in the works for these shows coming up next week and the week after, and then the first week of February as well, my friend.
Speaking of which, before we get into Io and Kairi Watch, just a reminder that Stardom will be running Osaka, Edion Arena Osaka number 2, on the 17th and the 18th, back-to-back shows. On the 19th, we'll be running in Takamatsu before, of course, on Wednesday, running Korakuen Hall for that pay-per-view, Rina versus Konami for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, and the return of Yuzuki Aikawa in 6-woman tag team action, teaming with Mutual Love, which is exciting as well. Matt Turner, of course, Io and Kairi Watch, my friend. Talk us through it.
We are back at it, my friend. Obviously, we know we've had some Io and Kairi stuff on the SmackDowns and the Raws leading up to this big tag match, the first Monday Night Raw of the new year, the opener, which made things a lot easier for me, buddy, as we have Io and Rhea Ripley taking on Kairi and Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. Rob, by chance, did you see this match?
I have not, no.
It goes about 12, 13 minutes, give or take. If you have the time, definitely watch it because this was fantastic. Really great stuff with Io starting off with some shine. Eventually, Rhea comes in. Rhea, she takes a little bit of heat, then makes her comeback. And then I think Io is rubbing off on Rhea maybe in the wrong way, because for some reason, Rhea does a running cannonball senton off the apron to the floor. And as Joey Styles would say, no water in the pool. She just splats. So I was like, nice. I don't know if Rhea should be doing the Io moveset, but regardless, that leads heat onto Rhea. Io comes in. We get the handspring drop kick. We get the Showtime palm strikes. Some really great stuff there. Io hits the Joshi drop kick. That scores a 2 count. Rhea comes in. She tries for the Razor's Edge onto Asuka. Asuka is able to, Asuka counters the Riptide into a code breaker, which I thought was great, and then hits this great kick combination onto Rhea, scoring a 2 count. Some really good stuff there. Eventually, we do see Io and Kairi trade German suplexes because why not? Eventually, Kairi gets the better of that. We do get the assisted insane elbow onto Rhea Ripley. Io coming in out of nowhere to break that up at 2.9. Excellent stuff there. Io hits the Quesadora double stomp and the bullet train onto one Asuka. Rhea then hits the rip. Now, this was really great because at this point, we're building towards the end. The crowd is going absolutely crazy. Rhea is the legal person. And I was watching this and I was like, I think they might mess this up with the legal person getting the tag. So Kairi is on the floor. Rhea hits the Riptide. She's still legal, and Io hits the moonsault. I'm like, well, Rhea needs to get the pin. So as soon as Io hits the moonsault, she gets up and hits that insane suicide dive to the floor, taking out Kairi, and then Rhea pulls Asuka into the middle of the ring and gets the pin. I love it because it's the legal person, and I was watching and thinking, well, Io's doing the moonsault, so she's going to go for the pin. No, she does the moonsault and then the best suicide dive in wrestling, leaving Rhea to get the pin. 4 1/4 stars, Rob Goodwin. This was fantastic. It also helps me about 14,000 people going absolutely ballistic. As soon as they won the belts, of course, WWE, because they're a merchandising machine, here comes the new shirt with Io and Rhea, which from what I understand, sold out in like 14 hours, which for the product for WWE, because they seem to have an unlimited amount of merchandising, the complete opposite of those Mayu Iwatani jerseys that we wanted last week. They always seem to have like an unlimited amount of merchandise, but yeah, within like 14 hours, they sold out of these new Io and Rhea Ripley shirts. So folks, if you're keeping track at home, Io is the best wrestler in this company, having the best matches, now selling the most merch, which reminds me, I need to get that new Io Shirai figure, which my wife said, stop buying things. Christmas is coming, and then we're going to Japan. Christmas is over. We're back from Japan. I'm buying myself a new Io figure. Thanks for the reminder, Rob.
There you go, man. I've got you. I got you. Ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of our podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We truly do appreciate you. Of course, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. If you could leave us a review and a 5-star comment, that would really, really help us out as well. Don't forget, patreon.com/the Stardom Cast, where you can get all of your episodes ad-free for as little as $1 a month, as well as a whole host of bonus content as well. On top of that, you can find us on social media at the Stardom Cast. That is all changing, though, so I'm not going to bother plugging the social media platforms because that is going to change very, very, very shortly. So just stick with us on that one. You can find me on Twitter, though, at RealRobGoodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, where can they find you? And then sign us off, good sir.
Real quick, but how's your team doing? It's still 1-0?
No, we lost 2-0.
Oh, all you needed was yeah. Hey, what can you do, my man? You know what you can do? You can watch some great wrestling. And you can also get a hold of me on social media. Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or you can shoot me an email, which that's going to change as well, but in a good way, folks. We will just bear with us. Bear with us. We are growing in 2026. But the email address, if you do want to send me an email, is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap her up for another fantastic episode of the Stardom Cast. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do it without you. It's like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast, because when all together, everybody's different, everybody's special.